we love living in Florida, and one of the only drawbacks are mosquitoes. Not a fan.
Yeah. Every day my sons go out and play in the yard because the weather's so nice.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about mosquitoes like I did before I got the Mosquito Net system. And basically the system's like a big drum of this perfectly fine, like, mosquito repellent. It, like, dissipates.
Perfectly fine.
Damn it!
It's perfectly fine. What's in that? What is this around my? It's torque. It's perfectly fine.
You don't know. No, leave it. No, we're leaving it. Because I mean, perfectly fine.
Are we leaving it?
Okay, but
then I nominate this for next year's awards. This is in the nominees for next year's awards.
I mean, it's not dangerous.
Because you didn't say anything bad, and it is perfectly fine. But I just when people say that, I'm like, oh yeah, really? Is it really?
Well, I don't know why I said it.
Why did you say perfectly fine?
Because I was trying to describe the fact that it dissipates in 10 seconds. It's not harmful. It's not a harmful chemical or anything.
Yeah.
It's like 100 times less harmful than the off that you would spray on your kids.
Well, you could have said that, but you didn't say that.
I don't know that. Well, I don't know that for a fact. But I know that it's totally safe. Listen, my wife...
Is it totally safe or is it perfectly fine?
It's both! Anyway, it sprays no mosquitoes. And it does it automatically. I don't have to think about it, and I just go in my backyard. Yeah, it's
oh my God, you hear that? I have corona.
Oh my God.
Oh my Lord.
Can you smell it? Perfectly fine.
I can't smell anything, but I feel perfectly fine.
And Daniel's got the portable system, so...
And I can attest, it is also perfectly fine. Don't beat me up, dude.
It's Mosquito Next, perfectly fine. Welcome back to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We have a limited time, so let's jump into our next guest, Mr. Van.
Yep, on the line with us right now, we got Skylar and Emily from True Leave. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Now Emily is part of the research and development team at True Leave, correct?
All right.
Yes, that is correct.
Now, there's a lot of questions that I've gotten from listeners and from people around, even myself, because there's a lot of words that we've heard and products that True Leave has and stuff, but I feel like I don't necessarily exactly know what the product is. Or you know what I'm saying?
No, I think that's a good... It can be intimidating sometimes to ask the proper question.
Like the difference between True Wax and True Crumble. Like Crumble and Wax and all, I know what that is, but not exactly, right? Like
nano gels. You don't even... Do you know what a nano gel is?
Yeah.
So you got to know all this.
I don't know what's more potent or what's considered more powerful or I don't...
So they can help us with this.
Yes.
Is that what we're getting to? Yes.
So, Emily, what is the difference between those two products?
Between the Crumble and the True Wax?
Yeah.
Okay. So, basically, they're very similar products. They're made in very similar ways. The real difference is the consistency of the concentrate. So, Crumble is kind of what the name sounds like. It crumbles, so you can break it apart. And wax is more of like a sticky, waxy texture, so you can more cut it. So it really comes down to patient preference of what they would like to use. They're both going to be pretty flavorful. They're going to have the terpenes that are extracted with the plant and all of that as well.
So they're basically the same product. It's kind of like whether you prefer a French fry or a tater tot. It's still a potato.
Yeah.
It's just how the shape...
I would have never thought that you would go... Crumble to wax is tater tots to fries. This guy's a genius.
So one's not more powerful than the other.
They're both about the same. Yeah. So really, patient preference is going to be the key for that product.
And I really feel in this particular analogy that crumble is your tot.
Okay.
And that wax is your fry.
Now, could you eat the crumbles if you wanted to? Is that,
proper?
Could you? I mean, is it the same as in a concentrate or whatever? I prefer to ingest all my THC products.
You're a typical crumble eater. Yeah.
Is that possible?
Yeah, you're definitely not going to want to eat crumble.
No,
it's not activated until it's heated up. So if you eat it, you're not going to get effects from
What
it,
if he
really.
ate hot
Oh,
crumbles?
well, that's an interesting thing because I assume that
Yeah,
maybe,
right before this interview, he ate all the crumbles, and nothing's happening.
Well, I assume that your body would digest it and you would still get the THC effects, but you're saying you have to actually heat it for it to
Activate.
work.
So you got to heat it you have to heat it in order to get the high type effect because
Gotcha.
that comes from THC delta 9. The form in which crumble and wax and most of the concentrates is sold is THCA. So it needs to be heated in order to be activated.
All right, that's good to
interesting.
know. I see Tom
yeah,
putting the
versus, like,
crumble back in his pocket slowly.
What about the terpenes? Because every time someone's like, "Oh, the terpene, the terpene this, terpene that," I always I shake my head. I'm like, "Oh yeah, the terpenes."
Yeah, don't forget about the terpenes.
And I have no idea what that is. I just shake my head and I'm like, "Oh yeah. Of course, the terpenes."
Yes. I vote yes on I like terpenes.
So, can you explain to me what exactly that even means?
Yeah, so the terpenes are a big portion of where your flavor is coming from. So each different strain has different combinations of terpenes that are held within the plant. So when you extract it into concentrates, it keeps those terpenes and gives you your individual flavors and terpene profiles between the different concentrates.
So, does it have to do, when you say flavor, is it my taste bud flavor? Like, I know.
What other flavor are you?
Opposed to-
Do you have other flavors we don't know about? Like, can you taste with your butt, Tom? Is that what you're telling me?
Oh, no, I guess that was a stupid question.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd ask that.
Yeah.
Well, because
Is you talking about my flavors?
My mouth
You
flavors?
talk about my mouth flavors? Emily, is that what you talk about? Them there mouth flavors?
I'm sorry. I'm embarrassing myself. But that's what it is, right? Like, I can taste blueberries. Or
Yeah, it's
okay.
going to be your taste. What's your tasting? So, yes.
This segment just made the end of the year awards. Mark it down, Sam.
Okay.
This is an all-time winner of put it down for embarrass the most in front of clients.
Yeah.
Put that down, yeah.
So, the terpenes are just flavor profile.
Yeah, to an extent.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Listen, that's more information than I knew.
We have some questions from the chat room, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. One of the questions was somebody was asking about, they asked me to ask about caramel sauce.
So caramel sauce.
Yeah, there's two new concentrates.
Oh.
Like yours. Okay, hold on a second, guys. This guy's laughing like he knows, and I said caramel sauce. He's like, oh! And then the chat room goes, and then of course, then Emily's like, yes, of course, the concentrate caramel sauce.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought they were asking about the
Mouth flavors.
yeah, more flavors.
Yeah, you shut your mouth flavors.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So what about? I guess it's creme or creme. Am I saying that right?
So we have refined creme and
Creme.
caramel sauce. They're the two newest concentrates that we just launched. Caramel sauce just launched on 7/10, and refined creme was a little bit before that, but brand new that just hit the market recently.
There you go. So you need to pick yourself up some caramel sauce, Tom.
I want to ask you about basically increasing the THC percentage. Because this was a question someone asked for me like a long time ago, back when they were discussing I don't know, maybe messing with the law or whatever, like reducing the percentage
Right.
of
Of
THC in
yeah.
a product or whatever.
Skylar was telling us a lot about that earlier during the virus.
And then people were asking me, like, how do they do that, or what does that mean? Is it all based on the strand of THC, like the plant itself, how much THC it has in it, or is it the way you refine the product?
Yeah.
And I had no idea.
That's a good. That's a good, simple question.
Yeah.
What? How do you determine the percentages?
So the percentage, we determine it ultimately in final products by analytical testing.
Sure.
But because of the strain and because of the type of product and the processing that goes into it, all of those three is going to be in the final product.
So basically, the actual strand of the plant or the
Determines
species
the potency.
Yeah, it can have a heavy influence in it.
Gotcha. And then when you're actually processing, like, just the dumbed down version, so I can understand it, when you're going from plant to concentrate, I've seen, like, videos on the internet of people, like, literally squishing the oil out of the bud, like out of the flour.
Yeah, squish the buds.
If you squish it hard enough, like, oil comes out. It was basically
and
the
that works
pure
for anything.
THC.
If you squish anything hard enough, oil will come out.
I'm sorry, Emily. But is that how you do it? You squish the buds?
So that's one method of doing it. That's not our main extraction method for how we do most of our products. At TrueLeaf, our main extraction method is ethanol extraction. Because pressing every individual bud wouldn't be a very effective process for us. So we take it through an ethanol process that gives you the extract from the plants, and then from that extract, we can put it into different products and how we would want to make it. So we've got one extract that's going to go towards concentrates, one that's going to go towards capsules, some that's going to go towards edibles, and we can break it up like that.
There you go. A lot more efficient than just squishing individual buds, Tom.
Well, I don't do it.
Jeez.
And what is the actual, like, I guess, purest form? Is it the crumble or the wax or?
Yeah, what would be the most potent form that you guys provide?
Potent and pure, I guess, aren't always related. So I would say the most pure form that we have would be the True Spectrum vape carts.
Oh, I love those.
Been really, really popular.
Yeah, they're hard to find, too, because they go very quickly because people do like them. If you can find the True Spectrum vape carts, it's a Dan favorite, but again, sometimes they go very fast.
Mm-hmm. So that, I would say, would be the most pure. And then your most potent is going to be your concentrate products. So your THCA, your shatter, wax, crumble, those are going to be your more potent ones.
Oh, I got a question for you, Emily. I just thought of it. Say I'm getting a TrueLeaf True Gel, like a tiny 10 milligram. Let's say they're in 10 milligrams because I believe that's the milligrams. Those the squared True Gels come.
They're great.
Are they evenly distributed? Where if I cut it in half, would I be...
To the best of your ability, if it's 50-50, it'll be 5 and 5.
Would it be 5 and 5, or could it be more THC on one side than the other? Therefore, it's like, well, okay, we know this is 10 milligrams, but it's not evenly distributed perfectly, where, like, if you cut it in half, that you would get 5 and 5.
Yeah, no, they're completely even. So if you cut it in half, you're going to get half the dose.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Because the only time that it wasn't like that was when it wasn't legal, and we were.
Yeah. You eat the frog feed, and you're freaking out.
Yeah. Next thing you know, you're eating one SpongeBob, and all I ate was a corner of his sponginess, and I'm freaking out, dude.
So, Skylar, I know that there's some new openings, and we every time we have you on, we talk about new openings.
Where are the newest ones now?
So we have a store opening this week, actually. You'll have to stay tuned. I can't give too much information, but I know y'all follow social media.
We do.
Okay.
It's towards the end of the week, I will tell you that. And it is close to Orlando, if I'm picturing the map correctly. So we have that coming up.
Nice.
And then we also, which that's going to be our 86th store, which is crazy that we're almost at 90 stores.
Wow.
I know. And then speaking of edibles, we have a happy hour mix and match this afternoon until 8 that you pick 4 edibles for $75.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
That's awesome.
And when is that again?
It's today from 1 to 8.
Yeah, so you have a little bit of time left if you're listening to this.
Yeah. This is our last interview of the day, and I'm literally going to the Winter Park.
No, if you're listening to this tonight, then you just go to your computer now, and you better order.
Yeah. And what's the special
Get all
again?
your edibles.
Yeah.
4 for $75.
I'm sorry.
4 for $75.
Yes.
All right,
You
write
should have got
down.
that email.
Yep, 4 for $75.
There you go.
Last question, Emily. When you're part of research and development, is it part of your job to, for lack of a better term, taste test or try the product to see what it does?
I mean, that's what I say.
Or because it's all.
And we're just a media partner.
Is there no use to doing that because it affects everybody different because it's all up to people's individual body chemistry, so it's not really I guess any proof to what this particular product will do just because it makes you feel a certain way to other people, or do you try these products?
Yeah, so that's not really included in the job description.
Yeah, yeah. I just wondered if it was.
Well, we do a little bit of some, when we develop like new gummy flavors and edibles, we can make them without the active in it so that we can test all the flavors to make sure that the flavors taste good.
Yeah, and they do.
Yeah.
That's about the extent of it.
Yeah,
Gotcha,
and y'all roll out the flavors legit.
Yeah.
Like,
No, they're
I like
great.
the Florida orange one, and then somebody in the chat room mentioned a key lime, and I have yet to try that, but I love me some key lime.
I know we got to go, but the CBN, can you run through exactly, because I know it's aged THC, but that's all I know.
Yeah, so basically CBN is another cannabinoid just like THC or CBD, and CBN is mostly geared towards sleep. So that's why and you're correct in the fact that it's an aged THC almost. It's not aged, probably isn't the best term for it, but it's converted. So we take THC in through a process, and then out comes CBN, which is meant to help people calm down and sleep and relax better than just THC normally.
Okay, great. I use it all the time, and
Yeah, it's
I
great.
love it. I just didn't know exactly what it was, but I prefer that even over CBD because
Yeah, I do
the
too.
sleep quality. So, Emily, Skylar, thanks so much for coming on the show today. We appreciate it. Sorry we're laughing so much. I promise you we are not high currently.
Oh, man. We are. We're just in good moods, and Tom was cracking me up for some reason.
Although I did take a good amount of CBN last night, and I think it just still
Carrying over. Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you next month, okay?
Thank you.
No problem.
See you guys.
See
Emily,
ya.
nice meeting you.
Bye.
Take care. See ya. They are so nice.
Yeah.
Well, especially when they put up with us.
Yeah.
Getting out of here. Anything to plug? YouTube, Tom and Dan Live. Twitch, Tom and Dan Live.
TikTok.
Tom and Dan Live. Did we do a TikTok today? Butler, do a TikTok.
Also, if you want to be a BDM, you could just
This week was Shart Week.
Yeah, we need you.
So,
We need you to sign up.
sign up and
bring a friend.
Bring a friend.
and you'll get some good shows like Shark Week and some upcoming events that we got. And we'll let only BDM know, invite them and let them know first and all that stuff.
Yes, sir. TomandDan.com. And bye-bye.
Welcome back to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
Welcome back, indeed. I'm Dan.
So I have two stories from going to Blizzard Beach.
You saving
this
these for the
past
Friday free
Sunday.
show? You
I was
saving the meat?
I'll save one of them because the one of them is significantly more funny. But
I was curious as if to. My wife even asked last night at dinner when we were sitting in silence, and all you hear is the cling clang of the
Utensils.
the china, because we don't talk. It's a very, very sad movie dinners.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're watching a movie and it's just like the ching chong, and nobody's talking, and then the dad is like, "Well, is anybody gonna say anything for themselves?" You know, like that kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's called
how-
the American Beauty.
Yeah, that's how we eat. We do the American Beauty. All I'm doing is thinking about the neighbor's daughter.
I haven't
That's
seen
not
that
true.
movie, but now I feel weird.
Is that what he
to
was
go back
doing?
and
Was it
watch
the neighbor's daughter? I don't know
think
what
so.
Daniel has Nazi plates.
I do not. Well, why would you say that? I do not have that. That's Butler has that. He's an older soul.
Anyway, so I want to find out what you guys would do in this scenario. So we're at Blizzard Beach, and I'll tell you on Friday. Like it's my wife's birthday, and this is what she wanted to do. So
So you butt out.
No, I'm just I'm in good mood mode, and
Yeah.
that's all
Put
I
on
do.
a happy
But was
face.
it?
Yeah.
But you can
I'm
tip
miserable
it
the whole time.
But you can
Huh?
tip it It's not that bad, man. But
But
you
were
can,
you medicated the whole
But
time?
you
Oh,
can
yeah.
tip it where if you're being too much, if you're like, oh, you're having a good day,
No,
then you're
no.
passive aggressive.
Right.
I was just like, I was quiet.
You're
yet
like Tampa
stern.
Bay. Let's go.
Quiet and stern.
Yeah, and I was
Stand by.
not complaining,
Stand back.
not showing anything on my face,
Yeah.
no tells.
So you were just like, oh, you're like,
Yeah.
meh.
Anyway,
So you were dead. You were playing dead.
we I gotta tell you though, if you the rides that you have to walk up an insane amount of stairs,
Yeah.
have the least amount of people waiting in line,
Of course.
because the stairs
Well, there's
keep
a
the
few-
chunguses out.
There's there's really only one because the other ones you can ride the ski lift, right?
No, there's a couple. There's like
Yeah.
3 in the back.
No, I know in the
Yeah,
back you
in the-
walk.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
the big ones you're riding the ski lift.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
not going on that.
Yeah.
Am
The
I
ski lift
crazy?
has a long line though, and you can skip it by going up the stairs, but
Yes.
it's a lot of stairs.
Yeah.
Anyway, it murdered my feet. But
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole at the
I-
end of the day, my feet felt like Ramsey Bolton had tortured my feet all day.
Oh man, put them in a box.
So anyway, we're at
I get water shoes, bro.
You need,
It's like Crocs. They're too
you need
nerdy
Crocs.
for me.
You need Crocs. No, water shoes are nerdier than Crocs.
Oh,
Crocs
I got
are
'em.
in right now.
Yeah.
I got them.
You got Aqua socks?
Yeah, I'm gonna wear 'em
You
this
know what?
weekend
I
at the
admire.
beach.
I admire that you are leaning
Come on.
into your garden grandma
Yeah,
ways.
I am.
No, people from
See,
Missouri
Sam's
wear Aqua
confident.
socks. Why are you?
Well,
wearing-
I'm not
Yeah.
tearing my feet up like you
Yeah,
are.
it's just the only guy who says nothing matters and he doesn't care what people think is
Right.
the only
He
person that
cares
cares what
about
people
everything.
think.
No, but Aqua socks.
I got my
are-
Crocs on today. I'm a dog person. Hashtag dog person.
Aqua socks are for nerds. There's no way to look cool in Aqua socks.
I'm fine with it. I don't care if I
Yeah,
look
but
cool.
if you don't care, you don't care.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought you didn't care, bro.
Look,
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm going to be with my husband. What do I care?
Well,
I'm not trying to pick up dudes with my aqua socks.
What,
No,
you're trying
no,
to pick
just-
up dudes with your Aqua socks, Tom?
Just know that you look like a nerd.
That's fine.
Is that all right? I just wanted to
Yeah.
put it out there.
I think the big T's make up for the aqua socks.
That is
Oh,
right.
you know what? If you were wearing nothing
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Aqua
yeah,
socks,
yeah.
I'd be
Yeah,
a
yeah.
happy MF.
It does make a difference.
Yeah, it
Anyway.
does.
So we're up there on the one that you have.
By the way, Tactical Hat says he wears Aqua socks. I'm
right.
sorry, I just had to weigh in on that. Tactical, you're not helping.
So we're on the ride that you have the blue thing
mat.
that you lay the mat.
I
Yes.
love
I
those,
love the
right?
mats.
With the
Oh, yeah,
two
you haul.
handles.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
fly down that
And you know
thing.
why that's a better? That's a Disney gave you the handles. You go anywhere else, you don't get handles.
So this particular, we were out there later. I think people start showing up later after they get from get home from the parks, because right around 2, I think, is the most busiest at Blizzard Beach.
That's probably about right.
Because I think people get the group pass or whatever, and they go to the hot parks and then go to Blizzard Beach to
Yeah.
cool off. Anyway, so it was more people than there were there, and so we were standing in a bit of a line for a while waiting for. Basically, there's a huge conveyor belt that brings up all the blue rafts, and they split it between the wavy slides and then the straight racing slides.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they just divvy it out on both sides,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we're standing there, we're just waiting our turn, waiting. We're in line for a good half an hour.
Wow.
By far the longest.
Yeah, that's a long
but-
time.
That is long.
Because the other lines were no lines whatsoever, just on,
Yeah,
get
you
up
just
there.
rip.
So this was by far and then I think it was because they started having a problem, and all of a sudden we noticed the blue rafts stopped coming, right?
Oh, we had the same thing happen to us. Where something
the conveyor
gets
belt
backed up.
broke.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So then the maintenance men come. And I see them walk up the stairs, and they go over to the conveyor belt, and they start looking around at the bottom, right? So we have a decision to make, and we're like, do we wait?
Yes, I had the same thing happen to me.
Or just bail.
We bailed.
And the fact this was the only slides that we haven't gone on. Crystal wanted to do everything, so we got there early.
Yeah,
like
it's fun to
Andrea
hit
said.
every slide, yeah.
And we did everything
'Cause then you're tired.
And these are the only ones. And it was like 2:00, so it was the end of the day.
Nice.
And so
But hot.
we decided to wait. Right? We're like, how long could it be? Let's wait. We're only like 5 people from the place where you get your mat.
Yeah.
So we'd already been. So you're like, we were too far to give up at this point. So
yeah,
we're
you
like,
hate to give up if you're third in line.
we're like, let's just wait and see what happens, right?
Sure.
So then all of a sudden another lifeguard comes up, and he is carrying like 6 mats. So he walked up the stairs and he's carrying mats, and so he dropped them off. And then they divvied them out to like some people in front of us or whatever, and then we're even closer. We're like 2 people from getting the mat.
You're there.
So we're like,
See, I would have asked the guy right then and there.
What?
What's up with the mats? Did the thing break down? Do I have to wait for you to come up every 10 minutes?
Oh,
with
so
6
you
mats?
would have engaged.
Yeah.
You know
I
he
didn't
ain't
know
gonna
what's going
engage.
on.
You ain't going to say nothing.
I'm not going to stand there and wait for this guy to go up and down stairs.
No, Tom isn't going to engage. He isn't. You think Tom's going to ask and find out what's happening? Are you crazy? He hates confrontation.
So speaking
But
of
Crystal
confrontation,
wouldn't?
oh well,
No, Crystal will.
Okay.
But here's where you don't understand that I'm like Tom at theme parks. I let Andrea do everything. I keep my mouth shut. I don't say a word. I don't engage.
So then we're like, all right, let's wait until, and then we're waiting, and then we're like, okay, this is taking a long time. People start walking up the ride to get on the to wait. They didn't know the mat conveyor belt was broken, or maybe they did because they were bringing mats, just carrying them up the stairs.
Okay.
BYOM, yeah.
So, I guess in the bottom, it was, I guess, apparent that the thing was broken and there was a bunch of blue mats down there. So people just started grabbing them and walking them up the stairs.
Yeah.
That's self-service. I like that.
So
These
then-
people are self-starters.
Yeah, but here's the problem. So now you got a bunch of people that have been waiting in line for 40 minutes.
don't have
Yeah, but
mats.
these
They don't
guys
have-
got the mats. I'm sorry.
Okay, so then
No.
the people that walked up with the mats, they were just standing there, and there was a group of the people that had their own mats, and then all of us angry.
Oh,
and
you got to
saying,
beat
like,
them up. Take their mats.
No, so then they started like, oh, well, I'm going to get on the ride with the mats because the rides were still flowing. The rides weren't shut down, just no one had any mats. So they started trying to walk to the front
This is
with
how
their
the Civil
mats.
War started. This is how the Civil War started. Gray and the blue.
So
It started.
First
with,
come, first serve.
It started with mats and hot people sitting in the sun. They were waiting on mats, and then people that carried their own mats to the top. This
Now-
is going to be a socio-economic
Oh,
argument
yeah.
about
So
about
then-
like minimum wage.
I hear the people, the non-matters, I'll call them,
Yeah.
which are all of us standing waiting for the mats, start bitching about the mat people walking in front of
These
them.
mat people sitting here waiting for a goddamn mat handout. I went down and got my own mat.
So
I'm self-made.
So then there was like a little bit of a pushback where people were like, no, you can't go to the front, blah, blah, blah. There was some
All
sort
mats matter.
and then they
They're
settled.
pulling down a statue of Mickey Mouse.
They,
Literally, you're going through a whole problem.
Not Steamboat Willie.
Oh, take him down. Too much steam and too much Willie.
they settled on, all right, we're going to pass the mats forward.
So, wait a minute. You guys brokered peace?
So they
How
don't
were
know.
you able to broker peace?
Well, the first group, I'll explain, it gets worse. So the first group was like, fine, we'll pass the mats forward. So then they started passing the mats. So
this
then,
is great.
So then everybody's passing mats. So I'm standing there, I'm passing the mats forward.
Are these adults not giving the mats to children, by the way? Because I have a huge problem with
No,
that.
there's
This is a kid's theme park.
Where they're passing them to.
But you understand what I'm saying,
front
right?
of the line.
Yeah, well, but give them to the kids first. If you're an adult standing in line for a
I'm
mat,
giving it to who's ever. in
Oh yeah,
front
no,
first.
it wasn't kids first. It was whoever
Yeah,
was in
that's
the
right.
front of the line,
Yeah,
right?
I paid for my ticket.
So then they passed the majority of mats to the racing side because that's a longer line or whatever. Then they passed the last two.
I hate the racing
the
side.
toboggan racers, I love it.
Only if somebody's calling it. Normally, they don't have the mic hooked up.
So they passed the last two, and then me and Crystal got a mat, but there's four of us because Tommy and Max are with us, right? So now,
Well, now you're the bad people because they're your kids. You should have given them the mats.
well, they
no,
can't go down alone.
Yeah,
Oh, they can't?
Well, I don't believe so. No, you're supposed to have.
They can, but it's just like they wanted to all go together or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, they don't really like that though.
So
they don't like you just turning your kid loose.
So we're standing
Had me
there,
fooled.
and now all the mats have been distributed, and now there's no more mats again. They're all going down the slide.
Okay.
So then
Trickle down matonomics.
the next group of people just start walking up the stairs with the mats. Now they aren't aware of the whole broker deal of pass the mats
Yeah,
forward.
they don't know about the peace treaty. They don't know
Yeah.
about the
Well,
mat treaty.
now this is on the employees of not saying
No,
something.
the employees don't give a damn
this,
about
I know.
nothing.
This is the
I
July
know.
10th mat treaty. They don't know that it was signed.
And all the tourists and everybody there.
Oh, pest control guys
were
here.
making their own deal.
Big fat pest control guys here.
I was like, I thought I canceled it. And
Goddamn Massey, get out of here!
so then the new group of people bringing the mats up the stairs.
They don't know.
They're just walking to the front again because they're like, I brought this mat upstairs. Now I
No,
understand.
you gotta let them know. That's why you gotta teach history.
Because I started thinking, well, if I walked my ass up all the stairs holding the mat, I'm just not going to give it to the person in front of me. I want to use my mat. I walked up the stairs with it.
Right.
Like I did the work. It's my mat. I'm going to go.
I like Matt.
Hey.
So I understood this. So I'm just sitting there, by the way, high watching this whole thing.
No
laughing to
universal
myself.
mat care here.
And so then, like this real man starts walking with his mat, and then he's just ignoring all the people. Like,
I'm
excuse
going
me,
down this
like
slide.
we're doing the pass it forward, and he's just walking straight past it. He's like going to the slide, right? And then he gets to my wife, and then she's like, "Excuse me," but,
If you're feeling.
and I'm like, "Oh God!" And then she's like, "Excuse me, we've been waiting here a long time, and we're doing this pass the mat forward." And then he literally he was like. I saw him for one split second. I'm like, what's going to happen? Like, either he's going to be like, screw you, walk right past.
Right.
Which, by the way, I'm doing nothing. I'm like, because I've already done the equation in my head. It's like, am I going to get in a fight with some angry dad that about
you
the
see
mat?
him
Throw you down the slide.
Or
You see his
or
mouth
not
start
even
to
that.
shape the C word.
I'm not even going to interject in any of this and start arguing with the dad about a mat or whatever. Who cares?
Let him go down.
And then the guy handed over his mat. And then I'm like,
Crystal,
no. All
a
I got
hero.
from all this
She is a
is
hero.
that Crystal's a Karen and the guy's the pussy.
It's her birthday.
You gave up your mat to the Karen who bitched about
it was
the
her
system.
birthday. It was her birthday.
I'm just saying. It's just if you're listening out there, you succumb to the Karen that complained about the mats. And
You're just mad because you succumb to her every day, and somebody else did.
I just have. Why not stand up for yourself, bro?
Maybe she's just that powerful, man.
You brought the mat up just to you
that crow
deserve to
power.
write
That's
it
the
down.
power of the soapy butt.
And then he handed over his mat, and then they forced the whole group forced them to do the mat, and then we all got our mats, and then I got the hell out of there. And
Did he any time did he turn to you guys and go, "We're more alike than we are different"? Because I would have liked that.
He just handed it over.
We're all in this
I like it.
together.
Got shamed by the Karen. It's because other people were passively like saying under their breath, like we had a system as they walked by, and Crystal.
I
was
guess
like,
nobody said anything when they got to the bottom of the slide.
and then Crystal said, "I don't give a damn. I'm hot as hell. I'm
That's right.
going down the slide."
Good for her.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh God, what does it feel like to stand up for yourself? I would know what I felt. I bet it feels awesome.
Yeah, it does.
Telling someone how you feel, and then seriously,
He's never said. We've never come to.
I don't even wanna do it.
Tears shooting eyes. You've never said what's it feel like to
because
stand up for yourself.
in my mind, and I don't know if this is right, but
Oh, my God.
I'm just like, it's not even worth whatever the awkward confrontation is going to be. I don't even give a damn. I don't even want to be. I don't want to go down the damn slide. I'm not even going to have fun.
But it's like a challenge,
It's
right?
going down the-
Isn't it like a
straight face.
challenge? It's a challenge to say how you truly feel. Without getting into an argument. You don't have to get into an argument, but you can say how you feel.
Yeah, but there's nothing in it for me. Like it doesn't make me feel
I
good.
mean, she won. She got the
Yeah,
match.
I mean,
She did, yeah. But she got what she wanted. But
Isn't that all that matters?
I guess that but the awkwardness of her, like, excuse me,
Well, it wasn't awkward for her, I bet.
yeah,
Awkward for 5
that's-
seconds, maybe. And then you're
Yeah.
done.
It probably
That's where I
wasn't even awkward for that guy. That's something that we feel. You know what I mean? Like that's something that like that guy was probably like,
Oh, okay.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Also, he wasn't.
I just want a bucket of ice cream.
He wasn't doing something egregious, and I even kind of
You're on
felt
his side.
sympathy for
Yeah.
him. Like you walked up with the mat. I kind of feel
What
like
if he had turned to you
it's
and said-
all you have the right to go down the damn
He
slide.
does, but what if he turned to you and said, doing nice things for people is something I just like to do.
Pay it forward.
No.
What if he was to say, like, if I was only doing nice things to people so they do nice things to me, this world would be a hell of a bad place, Tom. Here, have my mat, Karen, and happy birthday.
You know what? I say real man, but I'm getting to the age where I think everybody's the same age. And
I might have been there
I
for a
think
minute.
this person is younger. Like he was early 30s or late 20s. He just looked like he had a beard. That's all.
guy with a beard.
So I think he was shamed by an elder Karen telling him.
Throwing shade at the wife again.
No, that's I was saying that. I think
Just can't let it go.
If it was a teen,
You could have gone to break.
I think if it was a
We gotta
teen,
get outta
he
here.
would have just pressed forward. But
He's like my daughter. He can't stop without getting one more dig on Soapy Butt.
all right, bye bye.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha's here. Butler's here. This is really cool, man.
It is, and this all started because of one of Butler's lies about having rust from the Titanic.
It actually started before that.
Oh, did?
because you were talking trash about how climbing Mount Everest is no longer a feat.
Oh,
So we
yes.
had a
Oh,
listener
yes.
send us an
This is
email.
really deep-rooted.
How about Samantha
also-
tells you that I just make it up?
Also, it
Okay.
goes further than that because this is again a connection with our friend Mike.
Yes, it is.
Who single-handedly saved? Well, I mean, OLE. I mean, we wouldn't
There
have
was no
even
saving it,
We
but-
wouldn't have even had lights had it not been
Right.
for him.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of his
Actually,
buddies.
it would be probably better if
Actually,
no one
he-
could see us.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah, Mike's screwed us.
Yeah,
because
he got us on this one.
because then they saw
But
us.
he's making it better by getting us an interview with his friend,
Yes.
who just so happens to be. Well, he did something extremely unique.
Yes,
Something that I don't think we will ever meet or talk to another person that's ever done this, right?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on the email and it's talking about how rare it was to actually see the Titanic underwater.
Which then spawned Butler to lie about
Yeah,
having
yeah.
Then
Titanic
Butler said he had
rusticles.
Titanic rusticles that he bought off an old man gave him.
shaman.
Then we tried to get a hold of the old man. The old man's crazy.
Yeah. Doesn't remember Butler.
He doesn't remember Butler. Doesn't remember what happened. He's everything that comes out of his mouth. It sounds kind of like. You remember the original Friday the 13th movie where they have the crazy guy on the bike? They keep saying, "You're all gonna die.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
all gonna die."
Yeah,
He's like,
exactly.
that's how this crazy old man is just like yelling, "You're all gonna die."
So on the phone with us, we have Lee. How you doing, Lee?
I'm doing wonderful. It's good to be here.
Yeah, thanks, man, for the time. So Lee actually has been to, in its current inception,
Resting place.
resting place.
Yeah.
He has been to the Titanic. Is that not correct, Lee?
That is absolutely correct. I dove on August 5th, 2005.
That's nuts.
So how did this whole thing happen?
Well, it's an interesting story, actually. Here in Orlando, we have an exhibit, the Titanic Experience. I was way back in 1999. I auditioned over there as an actor. Titanic had been in my blood since I was in third grade. It was always an interesting thing for me, and then I'm a landlubber being from Wyoming, so it was just kind of interesting. But auditioned as an actor over there, got the job, and then the owner, Mike Harris, found out that I was also a technician because I also work over at Universal. And he asked me if I would like to take care of everything, and I said, sure, I'll take care of the audio, lighting, video, all that stuff. And so one thing led to another, and then also I became his curator because I used to curate the artifacts at the old Territorial Park in Wyoming.
Yeah.
And so years went by, we're all working, everything's great. And then in 2004, we were up on the old balcony. I mean, the Mercado's not even there. It's now where the Orlando Eye is, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
And he walks by me and he goes, hey, man, what are you doing in August? And I was like, working here and working pyro at Universal and stuff. Why? He goes, well, you better get some time off. We're going to Titanic. And I was like, what? And he goes, bro, he goes, you're like my right-hand guy here. He goes, we're going to Titanic. He goes, we're going to break a Guinness World Record. He goes, I'm bringing my youngest son, and I'm bringing my closest guys here, here at the show, and we're going out. And now Mike, he actually started RMS Titanic years ago when they first dove the ship back in 2000.
Yeah.
He was the president at the time. Yeah. So he's got a lot of lineage to Titanic. His father went and looked for it back in the day, couldn't find it. Bob Ballard actually picked up the pieces from what his father did and actually found it on the Navy's dime when he was out looking for the Thresher and the Scorpion to take pictures of the two sunken submarines.
Yeah.
So fast forward to 2005, and it was myself and a team of 15 people. We boarded the Academic Keldysh. If you've seen of course, the big movie Cameron did, the white support vessel at the beginning, that's the Academic Keldysh run by the Russians. The two subs that you saw in the movie are real. That's actually Mir 1 and Mir 2. And I boarded Mir 1 August 5th, and literally went 2.5 miles down to the bottom of the North Atlantic and was able to, with my own eyes, see the Titanic.
Awesome.
Okay, now, this is a lot. There's a lot of very crazy and scary things that you just said, like the idea of even being something for this for the point of this particular story. Just being on a submarine seems very simple in the. But that's very scary to me, being on a submarine. Did you have any training in any of that, or was this all new experience like stuff for you?
Well, the nice thing about it is that the Mir submersibles are a one atmosphere, as they're called. You don't have to have a lot of training because it's not like you're scuba diving or anything like that. You're in a vessel that's a titanium sphere, and as long as you're not having to worry about claustrophobia or anything like that, because it is very tight spaces. I spent a little time with Zhenya Chanet. He was my pilot because I essentially was the assistant pilot on the right-hand side of him. So if he told me to throw a switch or something like that, he had to show me what it was because it was all in Russian. And then he drove. He essentially flew. They call it flying the sub because you're flying. Literally, the joystick he has in front of him looks like the joystick from the old game Tron. To give you an idea.
Yeah, all right. That would terrify me.
It's just like a black stick with a red button on top.
It was a black stick with about 4 buttons on it.
No, it's upgraded. It's like an NES controller. This scares the hell out of me.
So, Lee, going back to, I don't really understand, like, we talked about it a little bit, about, like, who is even allowed to dive down.
Yeah, we looked it up, and it's a business, right?
It is a business, and it's back in 2005. It wasn't as sticky as it is now. Now it is very, very sticky. When Mike was the owner of RMST, they had the rights and essentially to go down and salvage the ship. Now, there's 2 different things here. If you have the rights from the Supreme Court to actually salvage the ship, then they don't even own the artifacts. They're salver in possession. And now he had given up his presidency, of course, with RMST. There was a whole, I won't even go into that story. It's a big old nasty one with Arnie Geller and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But fast forward to us, when we went, essentially it was a matter of Mike was very good friends with Anatoly Skavalovich, who is the scientific head guy for the Keldysh, and he allowed us to, of course, use his. We essentially chartered his submersibles to go out and actually dive the ship. Now, we were not allowed to bring up any artifacts because, again, we did not have the rights by the Supreme Court to actually bring anything up for RMST. But the cool thing was we were able to take as much video and photographs as we were allowed to. And we were able to go in directions that we hadn't gone at that point because fast forward to 2015, 20, they've actually what they call mowed the yard of the entire debris field and have digitally been able to put a map of everything that's down. Back in 2005, we didn't have that.
Right.
So when we were down there, if you decide to go a different direction, you don't know what you're going to find because the debris field is so massive.
So explain. So when I want to know the all the details of the actual submersible you're in because it's tethered to an umbilical cord, right? Basically.
No, it is. No? It's a free falling vessel. It's not tethered to anything.
Okay.
What you do is you're when you're on Keldysh, you board that. You board it there. They pick you up with a big crane. The crane pulls you over, and then there is a tether that drops you into the ocean. Then they have these really amazing guys that are in a small rubber raft. They call them the cowboys. They get on top of the submersible and disconnect you. And as the sub drops, they can jump back onto the little rubber raft there. Now, you're doing all this in the middle of the North Atlantic. So you can have up to 10 to 10 to 15 foot seas on a good day. We had 40 to 45 foot seas on a bad day.
Whoa.
And and Keldysh is a floating brick. It's not like anything that you've ever been on when it comes to like a cruise ship or anything like that. It takes you like 5 chances to get down some stairs because she'll roll to one side. You wait till she comes to center. You go down and you follow it to the right. Then she comes to center. You go down to the left. Oh yeah, she's a floating brick, and so essentially they drop you off in the water, and you're on your own. And what you normally do is they get both submersibles in the water at the same time. They come face to face. We make sure all communications are good with the 2 submersibles, and of course communications to Keldysh. So at that point, you start the dive. And when you dive, you are in that submersible for 2.5 hours, going 2.5 miles down to the bottom of the ocean. The whole time, you're actually watching a sonar, and Xenia has the coordinates and everything. He's making sure the submersible stays within a couple of degrees of those coordinates. Then once we get a little bit deeper down, he starts looking at the sonar, and then you come to rest at the bottom of the ocean, like I said, 2.5 hours later. You follow the sonar, and at that point, he's following his of course, his coordinates and whatnot. And it was amazing, because when we got to the ship, you're looking through a porthole that is only about maybe 8 inches around, but it's in a cone, and it's almost 7 inches thick. So it magnifies things just a little bit. And I'm looking through one, Jenny's looking through one that's about 10 inches across, and then the other person on the other side is, again, watching through the same style I am. When we got close enough, it was almost like this dark shadow came across the top of us, because we, of course, unveiled the lights and everything, and then he pulled the nose up. And it's interesting, because when you see the bottom of the ocean, you think that it's going to be it's desolate like the moon's surface, other than you get these little white plants every so often, and you see these flatfish that live at that depth. You have these little crabs that are literally brilliant white that glow in the light. But then everything kind of disappears, and you see the bottom of the ocean starts to ripple a little bit. And then we looked up, and as soon as I looked up, the lights put in view the port side anchor of Titanic.
Wow.
And
God.
It was just this wall of steel that went all the way up. And it's crazy, because you see this steel and you see how tall it is, and then you realize, if you've seen photographs of Titanic, how far the anchor is from the bottom of the ocean, or from the level of the ocean when she's on the surface. If you look at some of the photographs of her or her sister ship Olympic,
right?
Well, it's crazy, because the anchor is only about 2 feet from the bottom of the ocean, because the bow plowed into the actual ocean floor. And so there is so much of the bow that's buried in the mud.
That's crazy.
And so, yeah,
well,
it's
let me
insane.
ask you, just real quick, not to pause you at all, but like...
No, go ahead.
As you're descending, because you made it sound really, like 2.5 hours, it's like you're in the car with your mom and dad going to south of the border. You know, in any way were you scared or terrified? That? Because I'm just reading some of the comments in our chat room, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live, and most people's problem with that is close quarters. Can you see anything, or is it just driving in the night's darkness, all the way to your destination?
Well, what they do is you turn this up. When we first start to dive, it's really cool, because Ginny he turns the lights off, and there's a section of the ocean as you're going down, you're looking through the portholes, you get to see these bioluminescent creatures, and it's just blue, literally little fireworks. They're going off and whatnot. You can see through the porthole.
Yeah.
Once you get past that, it's pitch black. So he'll turn off most of the lights except for one, and I'll be very honest, I wasn't scared about it. It was just one of those things, like I was more excited that I was being able to do this, because you were talking about Mount Everest and everything, and Mike Harris mentioned something. He said more people have been to outer space than have been to see Titanic.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's been like I said, it's been in my blood since I was third grade. So when he told me I was going, I was just so excited.
Sure.
And then, speaking to Genia, it was actually funny, because the guy that was with us, Dave, he kind of fell asleep because there's really nothing to do. But Genia and I were talking, and we were talking about the technical stuff of the sub. And he and I have become friends, because he actually, we're both motorcycle enthusiasts.
Cool.
And he drives a German Zendop in Moscow. And so we just chatted the whole way. And it was great, because when we got to the bottom,
a hell of a
I had
road trip,
befriended.
right?
Yeah, it was. It was a road trip. Talking with an amazing guy, because he helped build and design those submersibles, and he told me about his living in Moscow and everything and whatnot. And it was great, because when we got to the bottom, I asked him. I said, "Well, Genia," I said, "about how long do you think that we're going to be on the bottom?" And he's like, it'll be a really bad Russian accent, but he's like, usually these dives are about 4 hours. No, we stay till batteries need charge. So because of our friendship, he allowed us to stay on the bottom for 7.5 hours.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
After about 4, you're like, I've seen
I don't
it.
know. I mean, like my anxiety.
too long?
I think my anxiety after about an hour, I'm looking at it. I'm like, guys, you know, we got plenty of battery life, but let's call it a day.
Also, Lee, what,
Did you bring lunch down there with
is
you?
there a bathroom in
It's
those
funny.
things?
Well, there is. If what I did before I got on, because I knew the whole idea, I didn't eat for 48 hours before the trip,
Wow.
and I didn't drink for 24 hours because there is literally a little plastic thing with a cap on it. It's like from a hospital, and if you have to do your thing, that's what you got to do it in. And when we were all talking ahead of time, like, I'm not going to be the guy that not me. So, so I told Dave, the guy with us, I said, "You are not eating a darn thing for 48 hours. You're not drinking anything for 24, brother." You know?
Yeah. I mean, those are things people don't talk about as much, but I was like, they must not have any area. I mean, it has to be a container.
Yeah, you're shoulder to shoulder almost in this thing. I mean, there's switches and stuff all around you, of course, and you actually can lay down on where you can sit down almost a little bit, but then you lay down to be able to look, because it's got a nice little a little pad, like a pad you had like in grade school when it was lunchtime or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you could lay down on that, and then you can look through. But talking about being scared, there was like one time when I had a moment, just a little momentary freak out, because when you're in there, everybody's breathing, of course, and the titanium sphere is extremely cold, and so it's of course circulating your air and everything, but sometimes at the top of the round sphere, it'll collect a little bit of water. As I'm looking through the porthole, a drip came down and got me right on the back of the neck. And, of course, my brain immediately went, "Oh, my God, we're leaking." And I was like, wait a minute, Lee. It would be like if you had a crack or a hole show up in that, it would be like the scene out of The Abyss. The thing would just implode. You wouldn't even know what happened, and you'd have no idea what happened. It would be crazy.
That's what I was going to ask you. I'm sure the pilot and the guy who designed this thing made some sort of joke in the 2.5 hour ride down that
we're like in Coke cans.
Well, yeah, if there was any problem or any structural breach, it would be instantaneous death.
Instantaneous death. Yes, he even said, Lee goes, "Yes, if there's any problem with submersible, you're not going to know it." He goes, because it's gonna happen, and you're not even going to realize it happened.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay. Well, no, because just crush me fast. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, but although you're just waiting for the instant at every instant, like that.
Oh, me? Yes, of course. Of course.
I would never do this.
I tell you, once you see the ship, though, all that goes away. It just all goes away.
Now, do you guys?
So tell us about the seven. You cruised around. First of all, I didn't even think that you had that much power, because I got a couple questions for you. First, just describe, where did you just basically essentially go all the way around from like bow to stern? Did you see?
Well, yeah. Essentially, what we did is, of course, the bow and the stern are split because she did break in half.
Yeah.
And so we started in the port side anchor. We circumnavigated the entire ship. We went up and over the top, and I asked Jenny to do something that I had never seen in a photograph. Because normally when you see the photos of the wreck, you see it from the bow facing towards the rest of the ship.
Right.
I asked him to go to the bridge, essentially where the telemeter is. It's where the ship's wheel was. It's the only thing left of the forward deck. And I asked him to turn around 180 degrees so I could see the ship down towards the anchor crane and towards the tip of the bow. And it was incredible to be there and actually be where Murdoch and Smith and all of them were watching forward of the ship.
Yeah.
So
you mean
we went there, and then it was incredible. Then we were able to go. We followed along the top of the vessel, and we were able to get to the grand staircase. And Jenny was able to do this maneuver where he could literally bring the rear of the submersible up, and so the portholes were pointing more in a downward angle, so we could look down into the grand staircase with what was left. And of course, you could see with the lights the way he positioned them, you could still see some of the small chandeliers on the side. They're just hanging from cables.
Do you see any ghosts of old ladies twirling and dancing?
No.
Do you see bones?
The thing is there's no bones or anything at that depth. The microorganisms have actually obliterated any sense of anything that was living at that one point. Bones, flesh, everything is gone.
Yeah.
The only thing you can see, like in the debris field, that makes it really hit your heart, where you realize the human disaster, is you'll see pairs of shoes. Oof. Because the microorganisms can't eat the leather of the shoes, and you'll see a pair of shoes together in a position where you can tell that a body was laying there. Or you'll see a pair of boots. You know, that's like the boiler. What's that?
Violins
telephone line. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's moments you get that feeling like you really understand the gravity of the disaster.
Sure.
One of them is when you're cruising across the top. There's a Wellington davit that is pulled up. What the davits are is they're the structures that held the lifeboats and actually dispatched them over the side of the ship. And this one davit is the only one that's left because all of everything else was ripped off the deck by the cabling from the funnels when they fell. But this one davit is up, and that's one that First Officer Murdoch cranked back up into position after dispatching one of the lifeboats, trying to connect another lifeboat to it. And at that point, the bow plunged, and he was washed off the ship.
Wow.
And so, yeah, there's moments when you have that, and like when we got to the back of the bow, we went down the back side of it, and you can see 5 boilers, plain as day, right across the front of it. And just thinking about, the guys that were in the boiler room, they were still stoking the boilers to allow the electricity to work until the last minute, and they didn't make it out. God. So then, of course, you check out the entire bow.
Get their shoes!
What's that?
No, I just screamed, get their shoes, because I'm a child.
Right. That's all right.
I apologize.
No, you're fine. And then the stern is about 1.5 miles away from the bow, and so we went straight to the stern. And now the stern, the best way to explain it, it looks like a giant aircraft crashed, and because it's hard to tell what's what, because when it hit with such force going straight down and hit the bottom of the keel first. It just splayed away. But you could see certain things. One of the pieces that's really interesting is when you get to the back side of the stern, and it's actually flipped 180 degrees. The ship's screws, the propellers, are actually facing the bow because of the way that it landed. But when we were on our way down, I was talking to Jenny, and I said, I'd really love to be able to see the ship's screws. And Dave, the other passenger, was awake. And he's like, oh, man, I don't know about that, Lee. He goes, you got to go under the fantail to see that. There's only a couple inches. You can get hung up in there. That's dangerous. And I looked over and I said, dude, it is 6,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. How much danger are you worried about?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't get caught up in the line.
Right.
I'm kind of with Dave. I'm sorry, not to go against you.
Sorry, Lee.
I vote Dave was right.
I understand, you're down there. You want to see everything.
Lee is a Titanic real man. He's like,
I'm with Sleepy Dave. I'm like, I want to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I looked out. I saw the rust. I got it. Get me back alive. I don't want to be.
Here's the really funny part, though. So we get to the fantail, and Zhenya looks over at me, of course, and just kind of whispers. He's like, hey, I said, you still want to see screws, yes? I'm like, yeah, of course. So Dave doesn't realize it, but we're going under the fantail.
He fell asleep again.
And, right, exactly. So we're going under the fantail, and he gets all excited. He goes, oh, my gosh, I can see the screws. This is amazing, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, me being me, I said, hey, Dave, remember, we're under the fantail, right? And he looks over and goes, shut up, you SOB!
Yeah. Oh, my God. Great time to have a nerd fight.
We're right under the fantail. Look at the nuts.
I'm looking at the screws. Oh, my God. Nerd fight. This is awesome.
Zinya's in between us just laughing his butt off. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, man.
Now,
but anyhow, so we looked at the whole. We looked at the whole stern and everything, and we had a lot of time left. And so Zhenya asked me, he said, "Well, would you like to go a different direction?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'd love to go a direction that hasn't been searched yet." And so he looked at all of his notes because he keeps detailed notes of all the directions he's gone on the ship. And he's like, all right, we're going to go north by northeast. And so we start cruising north by northeast. And all of a sudden, we saw something we hadn't seen before. We found the ship's aft mast, which had never been photographed before. And then we're cruising along a little further, and I'm watching ahead, and Jenny asks, he goes, keep your eyes ahead. He goes, I need to make a couple of notes here and make a couple of adjustments. And as we're cruising, all of a sudden I see what looks like this mountain of steel in front of us. And I kind of smacked him. I was like, Jinya, pull up. Jinya, pull up. And we pull up and over the top, and we found the missing bottom of the ship because there's a large section about 90 feet between the stern and the bow that was missing. And then we found it. There's two more pieces and found both of those. So it's pretty exciting to actually find something that had never been photographed before.
So Lee,
that's cool.
First,
man.
you said how deep was it again?
It's 2.5 miles down.
Okay. They I'm surprised they don't do any super expensive tours of this with the popularities. Like, I just watched Richard Branson fly up into space, and and people are going to pay a lot of money to do that. So you think you would have some sort of, I understand this is probably insanely expensive, but there would be some multimillionaire that would be willing to pay to go see this, right? It's like so rare.
Sure. Well, it's interesting you say that because there is a company that works with a couple of the people that have vessels that can go that deep, like the French have Nautile, the Japanese have a couple that do just that, and they'll take them down for $30,000 a person. And so essentially, but you have to have two people because also Nautile is a three-person vessel, and so you have to actually have $60,000, and that's just for the dive. You have to then, of course, pay for the support ship, of course, for all the crew members that are on board the support ship, and on and on and on. And they've done it. They've actually done that. It's kind of weird, but people are just, we all got our things. There was a couple that he was a multimillionaire and she was too, and they went down to one of the subs and got married to Titanic.
Oh,
no,
so
okay.
Look that one up. Yeah, that's the truth.
Well, of course. I mean, people have unlimited money. Then to go see the Titanic is especially if you're
it's
into
less wasteful
history
than most things I've seen rich people do.
Yeah, even if you were into that movie or something, you know what I'm saying, and that meant something to you.
Right.
If you're a history buff, I would definitely put it on if you're a rich billionaire history buff, it's on there.
So after 7.5 hours and seeing all this stuff, I want to know two things. One, I'm sure you talked to the old captain about what would happen if you did have a problem and you got stuck down there. Is the other submarine trained to come get you? Do they send some sort of rescue? Do you sit there and die?
No, that is why they always dive, at least with the Mir submersibles, they always dive in pairs. And there have been situations where one or the other might have got hung up on something because, such as with James Cameron, when he went down there and did the movie Ghosts of the Abyss and Return to Titanic, they actually took the robots with them. And at one point, one of the Mirs, I think it was Mir 2, got one of its skids caught on something on the upper deck, and they brought Mir 1 over, and they've got these big umbilical claws that are on the front of it. They have these manipulators, and they were able to easily get the other sub untethered.
I've seen those on Baywatch.
So they always. But the thing is now, if you were diving with Nautile, I think they have a new vessel now, a new sub, the French do. I can't remember, but that's only a single one. So if that one gets caught up, there's nobody there to help you. I also know that just lately, I got to do some more research because I just saw it on one of my feeds. There's a new submersible that the Americans have now, I think, and it's a 5-person vessel. But again, it's a single unit, and so if it gets stuck, you're kind of stuck there unless they can get another vessel there fast enough.
Sorry, it's 4th of July weekend. Nothing we can do.
Yeah, right, exactly.
How much air do you have in one of those? Like, if you got stuck down there, how many hours do you have to live?
That's a good question.
Well, you would probably have the nice thing is it's got scrubbers. So it's very much like an Apollo space vessel where the air is recirculated through the scrubbers. But if the scrubbers start, to get too much CO2 in them, I would figure that in Mir you would probably have, because I remember talking to Zhenya, he said it's two things that would you'd have to deal with. One is the scrubbers, and two, depending on how much battery life you have left, you need the batteries to keep the scrubbers running. So that's why when they say when the batteries need charge, when I was down there, they still have 4 backup batteries. So they could still be down there for another 10 to 12 hours if need be. Because when the Mirs were the first ones to make it to the North Pole. And they were down there for almost, it was something like 14, 15 hours.
Oh my God.
They've also been to the Marianas Trench, and so that's much deeper than Titanic. James Cameron used the Mirs, and when he found the battleship Bismarck, and Bismarck is almost at, it's almost at 3.5 miles deep. So they have, it just kind of depends on a lot of things, but I'm sure that those things, depending on the trip, if they're going deep for a long time, they put extra batteries or whatnot, or bigger batteries with more charge, and they could easily last for about 24 hours. So you got about a day. And to ponder what's going to happen and hope someone comes get you.
Worst day ever.
Now,
worst day ever, brother.
Lee,
I love Lee. Man, I appreciate you telling these stories. This is so cool.
Certainly.
Thank you again for your time.
so with, I'm guessing as technology gets better and better and more people start building and engineering more of these, is there anything to stop people from going down there and taking stuff? Like, I'm sure it's happened, but how much stuff has been taken from the Titanic, and is there any way for them to even stop that from happening?
Police it somehow.
Or is it?
Well, here's the thing: is that anybody that has access to a submersible that can go that deep, and there's not that many of them. There's only a handful of them. If they charter the thing, they go down there and they talk the pilot into taking something, and they come surface and they hold on to it. Sure, anybody could go take what they want. The biggest thing is they can never sell it. Because if they were to try to sell something that's from the wreck, it is illegal to do so. Now, it's illegal in only certain countries, though. It's only illegal in America. It's illegal in Ireland. It's illegal in England. It's illegal in France. But other countries like in China and Russia and some of these others and everything, they don't have the same contract, essentially, with the rest of us because they had no tie to the ship.
It's weird to me that China would steal anything from anybody.
that doesn't sound like that.
No,
hold on, that's not the China I know.
Yeah, that's not, you know what? We're going to end it right here, sir.
And I don't even want to go into that because there's a whole nasty thing going on right now, too, because even
England
now, Artemis Titanic, just so you know, is owned by a Chinese company right now.
I was going to, I didn't mean, I was going to bring that up.
But are there pieces, are there artifacts from the Titanic? There is that's on display in museums and stuff, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Like the museum that I helped design and build. Mike and I actually, when we left Mercado, the museum went to the Orlando Science Center for a year, and then we built the new exhibit that's down on I Drive. And when he sold it, I still continued to work for the company at the time was called PRXI. Now it's changed over to another name. I don't know what it was. And I stayed there as the technician and the curator. And my wife and I had about 400 artifacts that were actually in the show from the White Star Line, which is, of course, the parent company of Titanic, and from Olympic, her sister ship. Now, I had 2 pieces that were from Titanic, but they were not from the wreck. They were actually, one was a plate that was stolen in Southampton when she had her port of call there, and another one was a cup that was borrowed on permanent basis, shall we say, in Cherbourg when it had a port of call. Because she didn't go straight from Southampton right to the U.S. She went from Southampton to Cherbourg to Queenston and then to New York. So, people stay at a really highfalutin hotel and they kind of borrow a towel. It just kind of ends up in their luggage. Same thing.
Yeah, I have an appetizer plate from Carlos and Charlie.
Exactly. So a lot of people, right.
My wife put in her jumbo oversized bag.
Right. A lot of people have pieces of the ship when she was still on the surface, or from Flotsam and Jetsam that was found by the Minia or the McKay Benet, two ships that went back searching for the bodies. There was lots of wood that was floating, and like a John, oh gosh, I forgot his last name. He was a carpenter on board the Minia. He brought a lot of this wood up, and he built things out of it, common things. He made like a chessboard. He made a cribbage board. He made a table. And at that time, it was really hard to get a hold of good wood like that, and it wasn't even a thing. It's like, well, it's just wreck wood, whatever.
But it's made out of the Titanic. That's amazing. And what a cool...
So there's a lot of those pieces that are out there. Even like the when the lifeboats, when they strip the nameplates off the lifeboats, it's really kind of cool because lifeboat number 6 had both of its plates, and there's a gentleman that we used to do work with as an exhibit, as he had pieces, and we'd show it. But then get ready for this. The other lifeboat from Lifeboat 6 belongs to Rick Springfield, and they're both on display together. I do believe it's in Canada right now.
Rick Springfield. We talked to Rick Springfield about his underage relationship with Linda Hamilton.
Yeah.
That was
we're not talking about someone's personal stuff.
I know, yeah.
He did. She was 15.
I was like
Titanic.
Yeah. This man,
the actress was 15.
Yeah, he was dating her at 15, and he was on the Titanic. He's a living vampire.
So, Lee, we probably got like 10 more minutes or less.
Okay.
But what are some misconceptions? Because you sound like you know a lot about the Titanic. And what are some of the urban legends and stuff that people believe that never happened?
The band played as they were going down, remember? All
right. So one of the big ones that keeps creeping up is everybody thinks that they switched Titanic with Olympic because of trying to get money or whatever it was, because Titanic cost more to build and everything. And once you've been down there and you've seen it, you can see all the evidence that it's definitely Titanic. And that one keeps creeping up. And so I literally have a Word document with all the explanation. So on some of my Titanic forums, someone's like, yeah, I heard they actually switched them. I just copy, paste, drop it, end of story. So
My God.
What do you mean switch them? Like it was never the actual Titanic?
It was right. Supposedly, they say that they switched the two of them because the White Star Line purposely sank the ship so they could get the insurance money off of it, and they kept Titanic because it was the better of the two ships because it was more opulent than Olympic. When in reality, they were virtual twins. But there's certain things you can tell, like Titanic. She had her first class walkway enclosed, as you could see it on the outside of the ship. It's plain as day, and so there's other things. Like when I saw the screws, you could see the number 401 imprinted right on it, and that's the ship's number, the yard number she was built in Belfast. And so there's that misconception. And then, of course, there's the big misconception from the movie that actually Jack and Rose were actually on board, and there was the heart of the ocean. It's all bollocks. It's not even real.
There was no jumbo diamond and no dumb old lady and no nightgown.
No dumb old lady, no dumb old diamond. And you know how many 14 and 15-year-old girls' hearts I broke when I told that Jack was not real when we went to the exhibit? So many I can't count.
Well, better to do that now than to do it anonymously online. Right?
What about when Daniel said the legend of the band playing basically?
No, that's actually true. Wallace Hartley and his band were asked by Captain Smith to actually play to calm everybody down a little bit, and so they started playing. But everybody says that the song was "Near My God to Thee," but the actual song they believe that it was is called "Autumn." And everybody just keeps the "Near My God to Thee" story going because, one, we can't prove it for sure, other than there were survivors that said, oh, they actually played "Autumn." And so there's that one that's always, out there. And unfortunately, now we've lost everybody that was alive at that point, that could keep those stories going. So unfortunately, a lot of the telltales keep surfacing, and so we have to go back and say, no, it was this, it was that.
And at any point, did a man with a revolver have to point it at poor people and tell them to stand down, or he would shoot them like animals?
No, what the story goes is that Chief Officer Wilde, and yes, what you said about me knowing a lot about Titanic, I'll admit, I'm a Titanic historian. Being the curator, you learn a lot of good stuff.
I love it. It's good.
So it actually was Chief Officer Wilde, and he was near the rear of the ship.
That's what they call me on Saturday nights.
Anyhow, so he didn't point it at anybody. People were getting a little bit crazy on trying to rush the ship or rush the lifeboats. He pointed it into the air and fired off one shot. Now, there are multiple stories that they shot a person, and it all stemmed from one letter. Everybody that had actually given information on what happened, they said he pointed it in the air. One letter from one person to their grandmother telling the story said that the officer shot someone. Everybody else said it was shot into the air. So you have to kind of go by... Right, yeah. Well, it's kind of like the same thing with Titanic breaking in half. For years and years and years and years, everybody said that the ship went down in one piece, except for one person, Jack Thayer, said that he believes he saw the ship break in two. And it was, of course, there was a moonless night. There was no breaking water. It was totally calm. As Lightoller said, it was like a mill pond. And so you can't really see what's going on. Lightoller, he was a second officer. He said that he didn't think the ship went down, or that the ship didn't break in two. When the ship was going down, he was sucked up next to a boiler vent, went under the water. When the boiler vent filled with water, it went down to boiler room number 2. It flash boiled and then pushed him away. He bobbed up next to lifeboat collapsible B, and by the time he got the water out of his eyes and stopped coughing and everything, the ship was gone.
Oh, wow, that's fast.
Oh, my God.
That's also terrifying.
Yeah.
Horribly terrifying.
There's a lot of stories like that, and it was very. When I was at the ship, I played like 13 different characters. I played a shipyard worker, but I played Lightoller, and I also played Captain Smith. And
so you have the knowledge, and you got to do what Tom hates the most. You got to pretend to be somebody else and use like a character voice. I'm sure Tom hates that, and I love it.
I'm sure the real man Russian captain of the sub loved that.
No, I think he's saying at the exhibit. I don't think he means,
sorry. The exhibit. Yeah,
my business partner is so stupid. He thought you were in the sub and you went down and you were so excited by seeing the Titanic that you decided to act out 14 characters in front of the Russian.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. I would never do that. They would throw me overboard.
This man's crazy. Oh, my God. Next thing you know, he'd be grabbing a genital.
I did the characters when I was hired as an actor. I told you that in the beginning.
Sorry. I don't pay attention.
He doesn't listen.
I knew what you meant, man.
I've been looking at fantasy football.
I knew what you meant, Lee. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for the story.
It's my pleasure. Absolutely.
And man, I would love to maybe do this again sometime.
Listen, anytime we have a Titanic question, you're our new show Titanic expert.
Yeah, you're our guy.
Certainly. Give me a call. You got it. Absolutely.
All right, man. Thanks again, and thanks to Mike for hooking this up, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care. Thank you so much, guys.
All right,
have a great day.
Thanks, Lee.
What a nice man.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, you embarrassed me. He was a nice man.
That's crazy. And also...
He got to do that just because... He's like, it's not like I expected him to have I'm a master diver. I've been diving for 35 years. I specialize in submersible.
Friend of a friend.
Yeah. Right. I was looking for that guy. Instead, it was just like, hey, you're the Titanic guy. You're into the Titanic. You're setting up the exhibit. You're really into this. Hey, come on, we're going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Also, 7.5 hours is too much.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. You can,
the 2.5 hours to get down there's too much.
Pass. One pass over the top and take us back off.
You're like,
and I love it. The only reason I got into diving, and you know this, is because I like the creatures and the scenery, and it is very calming. But something about this and that thing, 2.5 miles down, it's like, give me one straight pass over the top so I see everything and let's get the hell out of here.
I understand a couple hours of cruising around, looking out the window, taking pictures, but it's 7.5 is too much.
Yeah.
I feel like 5, you're like, I got the gist.
I don't need for the Russian pilot to say until the batteries go dead.
Yeah, no way.
I don't need
no
that.
way.
No, it's fine.
All right, bye-bye. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am. Dan, Samantha's here, Butler's here, the Fisher here, and let's not waste time.
Yeah.
I've said that 3 times now.
We are honored to have this gentleman on Zoom with us. He's going to be at the Improv, 2 shows Friday night, 2 shows Saturday night, theimprovorlando.com for tickets. Get them now. They will sell out. Kevin Nealon's on the show. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, you guys.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Oh,
no
are
problem.
are we on the stick? Are we on the hiking stick?
Yeah, I have you on my selfie stick.
Yeah.
My laptop is at the end.
Wow.
Laptop is at the end of my selfie stick. Yeah, that works.
With he's got the what is that called? The gauze blown out, kind of fuzzed out.
It's called the blur.
The blur.
It's the blur, virtual background.
I like the blur.
I'm actually doing this with my hand. It's my laptop computer.
No, okay.
Well, it looks good.
It does.
It looks really, really good, man. Well, hey, we're looking forward to seeing you in Orlando at the Improv. I know you've been here many, many times, but we're open. You know, we've been open for a minute, right, down here.
Oh, I know. I mean, Florida. I don't think Florida ever closed, did they?
Not really.
We don't really like to say that, but I don't think we did.
The cities did, but you go right outside, it was full on, the pandemic was never, I was out in December last year.
True.
In the mid-pandemic, we went on a beach vacation, and I walked into, like, a small diner, no mask, no employees, nothing. I was like, oh, my God.
I don't think
they didn't get the memo.
I didn't even think they knew
crazy.
what we were dealing with.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, I love Florida. My sister lives in Fort Myers, and my parents used to live down there, so I spent a lot of time in Florida the last 20 years.
Nice.
Kevin, I know every comedian that comes to the Improv that we've been talking to, we always ask him, like, all right, what'd you do when the pandemic first shut down everything? Everybody has a different story. Some people started writing. Some people started doing projects that they've been putting off for years.
Some people completely freaked out because they didn't have any other thing to do.
We know some comedians, that took a break, and then they were grateful that they got a break because they realized they were working too hard. So, what did you do, Kevin? Like, what was your time off? What'd you spend time doing?
Well, I did 3 things. I binge watched every show that I've been wanting to watch over the years, and then I ran out of things to watch. So the last thing I binge watched was our Ring doorbell footage. And, our UPS guy was hilarious. I also got into photography. I started taking these vintage photos of my wife. And she liked me taking her photos instead of some creepy photographer because she knew I wasn't trying to sleep with her. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's awesome.
And you're touching on something that's really important to me is that, like, we do this podcasting thing, and we've done it for like 11 years now because we started doing it very, very early on. And then doing the radio thing because we come from a radio background and we're on radio right now. But, like, you do all these other things, and one of the things that I'm most impressed with that you do is your art. Your caricatures. Now you say you're adding in photography. I mean, like, what all little things artistically do you do that maybe we don't know about? Because your art page that I now follow on Instagram, Kevin Nealon Artwork, I believe, at Kevin Nealon Artwork, it's good, man. You are really, really talented.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I really enjoy doing it. I've been doing it. I've always kind of sketched. Sorry, man. I'm trying to set this up so I don't have to hold it.
No, you're good. You're good.
I've always tried to sketch, and doodle. And when I was on SNL, I would sketch, like pictures of the people sitting across from me, whether it was Farley or Sandler or whomever. And then about 2 years ago, I took lessons from some guy in England on Skype, and I kind of learned how to do Photoshop and use the digital tablets and do digital art. So I've been doing caricatures of various celebrities, and I got a book deal with Adam, I think it was Abrams Publishing.
Okay.
So I have a book coming out in the fall of 2022 of these paintings, caricatures, And each painting will come with an anecdote about how I know this person or some experience I had with him, whether it was Christopher Walken or Andy Kaufman or whomever.
Yeah, I'm going to try to put these up so
Yeah,
our listeners can
great.
see really quick what you're doing here. I'm going to try to finagle OBS with the web here and see if I can make it happen. Well, I'll add it in post. That's what we'll do.
OBS sounds like a character from Star Wars.
It sort of does. You know what? You add that in post. That's what the famous people say. We'll just we'll just handle it in post.
Kevin,
That's the beauty of a podcast.
I want to ask you about hiking with Kevin and how that started.
Well, I like to hike. I'm not a big hiker. I don't even have any hiking shoes. I wear sneakers, and I don't even have like one of those camel packs. I just bring a bottle of water with me. So it's not like I'm a professional hiker. I just like to walk the canyons and, it's good exercise. So one day I called Matthew Modine, the actor.
Yeah.
He's a friend of mine. I said, hey, you want to go for a hike in this canyon near my house? He goes, sure. And as we were hiking, we were kind of catching up. I hadn't seen him for a while. We were both so out of breath. You could barely understand what we were saying. I thought this would be a funny interview, if I taped it, because he couldn't understand. I was like, Matthew, when you first came out to LA, did you have an agent? 8 by 10. And he'd answer me, and I couldn't understand him. So I videotaped that. And then on the way down on the other side of the canyon, I started asking him some more serious questions I had my cell phone on the end of a selfie stick. So it was really bouncy and shaky. I said, Matthew, do you have any regrets in your career? He goes, oh my God, I turned down so many movies after Full Metal Jacket. I was so picky. I turned down Back to the Future, the Michael J. Fox role. Yeah, I turned down the Tom Hanks role in Big. I turned down the Charlie Sheen role in Wall Street. And I turned down Tom Cruise's role in Top Gun.
Man,
and I said, you idiot. And I posted those, and I put it on Instagram. People loved it, and I had it on Twitter. And then I did Stern once, and he goes, you ought to make that a longer video, a longer interview. So I thought that's a good idea. So I created a YouTube channel. And just started posting them and started getting a lot of followers. And I started adding better equipment. I got a GoPro on the end of a graphite selfie stick. Then I got a drone. And I started editing myself on Premiere Pro. And, I've done almost 90
That was
hikes.
my question. We do everything here. We're very hands-on. I'm the editor. Tom sells our show. He's the lead of sales. Our producer, Sam, she's books things. Butler fills in the gaps and helps us around here, and he assists with sales as well. But, I didn't know you were editing these on your own, and it seems like part of your journey creatively is you like to learn. You were taking the lessons via Skype. You like the learning part, right?
I do like the learning part. And I've kind of, in the last 7 years, I kind of woke up one morning. I thought, I want to start doing stuff now that I've always wanted to do. And whether it's flying a drone or editing or learning Spanish, I take Spanish classes now twice a week because I live in Los Angeles and you guys live in Florida. So it's you really should know Spanish, some form of it, whether it's Cuban or Mexican Spanish, And so I've been learning Spanish now for the last couple of months, and it's been great. And I'm learning how to play the piano. Like I said, I took the art classes, learning how to paint. I guess I just, feel the clock ticking, and I want to take, as much as I can.
Well, Kevin, it's interesting when you said you edited these things yourself or the Hiking with Kevin.
I mean, self-taught on Premiere Pro is not an easy feat.
Because it's funny, because right now with all social media and YouTube and people being able to put out their own content, it started very organically. Like you, talked about, you just started videotaping yourself hiking with friends of yours who were celebrities, and the conversation was super interesting. But a lot of these things kind of turned into where a company took them over, a production team, and then they made them try to look like it was just Kevin Nealon holding a GoPro.
The authentic Kevin Nealon GoPro experience.
There's an army of editors and there's people filming. It's a professional production, and they make it look like it's.
Well, they have to almost go in and make it seem authentic.
So I wondered if it's I wonder if Kevin started doing this and then it blew up, and there's millions of views on some of these, and then someone took it over, and now you have a production company. But you do this all yourself still?
Yeah, I still do it myself. I haven't done it since the pandemic.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of the charm of it is the kind of the rawness of it, the shaking of the camera and the audio not being that great. Although it has improved. Somebody sent me a GoPro on the end of a graphite stick and with an external mic that had an air muff on it. And then, like I said, I got the drone. And so it has better production quality now, but it's still, the same silly questions like how often you floss your teeth, but when you wake up.
I think your viewers enjoy that. I'll give you an example. Like even on your Instagram, following your art, it's cool as a viewer, as a fan of yours, to see the progression where it goes from pen on paper or pen on a napkin to black ink on, like, let's say a legal pad to then I'm like, oh wait, he's digital now. Like we almost get to enjoy part of the learning process ourselves because that's I don't know. I think that's kind of neat. It gives it layers.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you. I used to, when I fly a lot to gigs, so I get bored on airplanes. I've seen all the movies, so I just started sketching fellow passengers when they were sleeping, on napkins or on barf bags.
Yeah.
Or on a sketch pad. And people still like that just as much as they like the digital artwork, I find.
And Kevin, I'm interested
He does a lot of things. He plays guitar, I
know,
believe.
yeah.
Aren't you fluent in German, too?
I used to live in Germany when I was a kid, so I spoke fluent German when I was a kid, but I've forgotten a lot of it. And then I took French in high school, so I know a little conversational French, but now I'm kind of like focusing in on Spanish.
Yeah. But
so I do a lot of stuff, but nothing good. I don't do anything well.
I disagree. I think you're like a genius, sort of.
Well-rounded.
Yeah, I think you're kind of how I want to be and how I want my daughter to turn out. Like I kind of want her good at everything, and then also you have one key thing that I've never heard anyone, even my friends, just as viewers, say anything bad about you.
Yeah.
Tell me. Tell me.
Yeah, I've never heard that, but I'm sure it's got to be out there somewhere.
Well, like I'm just saying, if I'm at a party and Sam goes, "Oh man, Nealon was on Conan," it's always good. It's not. There's no such thing as like. I'm not trying to blow you up, but I'm just saying, like, I think your career, and I was telling the guys before we interviewed you, I was like, that's the one, man. I think that's the one you want. Yeah. Because you seem happy.
I've been lucky because I've constantly worked, and my career, it's never been like a skyrocket taking off. It's always been very consistent and gradual, but always going up and always working. So I've kind of been grateful for that.
Kevin, you've been in entertainment long enough to see the evolution and where it's gone, and now we're in 2021. We're in a place where people can create their own content and distribute it themselves.
He's doing it,
and you're doing it. And just going back to the Hiking with Kevin thing, because more people would see that interview than if that celebrity did, let's say, maybe a Tonight Show appearance, or at this point in time, it's like.
But would it be as authentically cool,
or like any local radio or anything like that? But they're just talking with you. So does it still have to go through that celebrity's publicist before it's released, or like because it's a highly viewed piece of media? Yeah. So does it go through the same process of any other media?
Well, surprisingly, most people, they don't care. I didn't actually start having people sign releases until this last season of hiking. And I didn't even have any papers to sign. It's like I hiked with Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I know.
His manager goes, "You want to send all the papers here for us to sign?" I said, "Well, there aren't any papers." He goes, "Oh, good. I like that.
Nice.
That was going to be one of my ones. I was going to say most famous person you feel like you've interviewed. I mean, that guy. I mean, like when I saw that. First of all, I don't know why I missed that one, but when I saw him, the little, the thumbnail of you guys standing together, I'm like, that's probably one of the most famous people in the world who's just walking around with Kevin talking on a selfie stick. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty fantastic that he said yes. I had met him once before. He was doing Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I was coming down from a hike, and they were filming this little pasture in this canyon near my house, Larry David and his crew, and he was having a duel with some guy, and as I got closer, I saw it was Lynn. And so I kind of talked to him in the near the cameras afterwards, and we kind of got to know each other. So and then about a year or so later, I contacted him to see if he wanted to hike, and he said yeah. And so we did it near his house, like not in the Heights, but up in New York, up around that area where he lives. I'm not sure where that was exactly, but there was a park up there, a very old park. And he told me that that's where he wrote a lot of Hamilton, and we hiked in that area. So it's pretty cool.
Wow, that's
beyond cool.
Yeah.
And it's cool that you're able just to talk to him and distribute the content for.
Yeah. It's like very low key, like cool,
gigantic numbers of people to watch. Where it's just like, hey, I'm going to film this conversation. All right, just release it.
Yeah,
in a world where everything is lawyers, everything is paperwork,
and overhyped,
contract.
and also overhyped. You know, it's like you're just like, these are people that maybe I admire or know or friends, and.
Yeah, there's usually
and like no hair and makeup, just sweating,
there's usually
hiking.
10 publicists are usually involved, and like
I really like that. Do you think you've always approached sort of your projects with just a very I don't even know how to. I don't know the word I'm looking for.
It's just a pure art form of,
right.
Hey, we're going to have this conversation. I'm going to film it and put it up, and it's and instead of.
I think your wife even describes you as being wildly artistic. Do you just look at yourself as like an artist, sort of?
I guess so. It's it's funny. You say I hike with my friends. I originally hiked with all of my friends. And then I went through my friends and I ran out of people to hike with. So then I had to start contacting publicists for actors and celebrities I didn't know.
Right.
And I had to put a cover letter together and then, put links to YouTube videos of my previous hikes.
Examples.
And then I started getting more and more people. And just going back to what you're talking about with YouTube and everybody on YouTube now, where you don't have to go in and do interviews. That's kind of what it's like now. These guys or these women that have these comedians that have podcasts have such huge followings. They, and my show isn't a podcast; it's more of a web series.
Sure,
but these comics that used to have trouble filling a club now sell out arenas and stadiums and theaters because of their podcasts, and they don't have to go in a day early to do radio or TV publicity. Yeah, it's pretty spectacular the way things have changed now.
Yeah,
the self-promotion, we talk about it all the time. It's like we saw it. Everybody, they had their way. It's kind of like COVID was a great disruptor of the way everything has always been done. And then now we're coming out of the other side of it. And then a lot of comedians like, I'm not going to do these media tours anymore. What the hell? I'm just going to promote it myself. My followers are coming to see me. I'm not going to wake up and do Good Morning Orlando with some, you know what I'm saying? All the comedians
By the way, you would have not wanted to do Good Morning Orlando. Those people are terrible.
And to do a 10-minute bizarro interview where I sit down with a fake talking head and he's asking me about how it is to do comedy in Orlando.
My favorite question is, when you come to a Kevin Nealon show, what can one expect?
Yeah. And
those are my favorite comedy questions.
And so, coming out of the COVID, also I want to get Kevin's opinion on this, because I love the outdoors like Kevin does. And when COVID happened and everything shut down, everybody just went outdoors. And I was going to ask you about hiking, because I saw stories about the trails and the hiking trails in California being slam packed because nobody had anything else to do, and there was trash and litter everywhere, and there were just so many more people out. We saw it down here in Florida. Everybody with a boat took it out, so you couldn't even go out on the boat ramp. So the people who enjoyed it was like it forced everybody outside.
It was terrible.
But the people that liked going outside before were like, well, you're ruining it because too many people out here.
Yeah, no, in California, I don't think that was the case. I think people that didn't go outside before just stayed inside and watched TV. There weren't that many people on the trail. A lot of the trails were closed too because they didn't want people, getting close to each other. But I'll tell you, when I do hike with some of these celebrities, I tend to want to go on a weekday morning instead of a weekend because, take Jack Black for example. I went with him on a weekend at a popular trail, and it was like impossible because everybody that passed him wanted a selfie, and it would interrupt the interview. So I learned that weekends are less desirable to go hiking with people.
Yeah, is it hard though sometimes when you are with celebrities and you hike? Have you ever had any, I don't know, for lack of a better term, altercations or any
paparazzi?
Yeah, anything where you're kind of like, well, that's weird, or that was aggressive.
No, I never had any paparazzi. I did hike with Bella Thorne once. You know her?
Yes.
Yeah, she's kind of a YouTube star.
Sure.
Actress. I did a film with her, Blended, in South Africa with Adam Sandler. So that's how I knew her. And it was before she kind of exploded to what she is today.
Yeah.
And I hiked with her. And then the next, like that week, there like pictures in, the tabloids appeared of us in the parking lot, me hugging her and,
Right,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know who
Porkin'.
told the photographer we were going to be there, but somehow they knew.
That's crazy.
But Kevin, it seems like you've always stayed out of any of the,
Yeah.
I guess, the
And you're-
stereotypical celebrity drama or tabloids or all that.
And your wife's an actress too, so I mean, it would seem to me like you guys are a good power couple. By the way, she has one of the most memorable characters on Parks and Rec ever. I mean, you guys are like. I need to get my wife to act. I need her to do things.
Dan, we are a power couple.
Kevin, we'll let you go because I know you're busy, but I got one last question for you. You did an interview with Ellen about your house being broken into.
Sam was talking about that, yeah.
And you talked about some stuff that was stolen. Did you ever end up finding any of that, or did that ever turn up because of the publicity of that interview? Like, did anything come of that?
Not yet. But it's funny you should mention that because I'm in New York City now, and I was walking past a kind of a pawn shop, and they advertise Rolex watches out front. And I thought I should go in there and see if my watch is in there.
Yeah, I just wondered because in that interview you mentioned Gary Shandling's ashes were in a jewelry that was stolen.
Oh my God!
And you talked about how you hope to be able to get that back because obviously it was important, sentimental.
Yeah, my God!
And I thought that maybe that would have got out there enough where some pawn shop or someone would have heard him. I'm like, man, this is, a rare thing. I'm going to try to give it back to Kevin.
Yeah, I doubt that a pawn shop would even take that because it's unrecognizable. It's just a little urn on a leather necklace. But I was friends with Gary Shandling, and some of his ashes were given to me in this little urn. So I would wear Gary with me sometimes. People sometimes thought I was performing solo on stage, but I was really a comedy team with Gary Shandling.
Yeah, I like that. That's awesome. That is very cool.
So he's missing. So I think instead of calling the police, I should call the report like a missing persons thing.
I like that. Yeah, and I think he would like that. Obviously I didn't know the guy, but I knew you guys were super good friends, and knowing I think his sense of humor as a fan, I think he would enjoy this entire tale.
I think so.
Well, Kevin, it's been great talking to you. Really appreciate that.
Enjoy your time in New York, and we look forward to seeing you here in Orlando. It's been an honor.
Yep, he'll be at the Improv.
Thanks, you guys.
2 shows Friday night, 2 shows Saturday night. Get your tickets. The Improv Orlando. They will sell out.
And good luck with the show because now we hear it. Did it get an option? It's going to be scripted now, and then you're going to do like a version of it based on your own show.
Well, we're taking it around. We sold it to TBS, and we got paid to write the pilot, but they ultimately passed on it. But it's with other people now, so hopefully we'll get some track.
I think it's going to be huge. Well, take care, man. Enjoy the rest of your time.
Thanks, you guys.
We'll see
Thanks
you real
for having
soon.
me.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Thank
Take
you,
care,
Kevin.
Wow, that was really cool, right?
Yeah. All right.
I wanted to bring you in because I wanted to give the chat room something and give Sam something. I would have put you on tilt. Did we or did we not revisit Sex on the Couch?
We did.
Yeah.
And it was much better.
Yeah.
But you have to use the corner.
Yes, of course, the corner.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because you have more surface area.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Corner.
Well, like how?
I just sat in the corner like a sultan.
Okay.
And she came and,
Oh, what?
And this was
I don't know.
and we played a game called Sitting on the Sultan.
During the UFC fight.
Yeah, we played right in the shark
during the fight?
Yeah, let's just say that.
Well, before Conor McGregor. But
Yeah, before the main event.
And then how? Like is
the prelims.
Is it go for a while? Is
No.
tire out?
No.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Come on.
We're both over 35.
Yeah, I gassed out after a couple of. I'm like, Sultan's tired.
Broke my leg.
Yeah, they're gonna hold the base because that worked as well as it did.
Looks like a push puppet.
Oh man, that's
what else have we done lately that I wanted to put Tom on tilt?
Mario Golf, hole for hole.
Yeah, holes for holes now. We're doing strip Mario Golf now.
Hold on, strip Mario.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's hold on.
Yeah.
Strip games.
Princess Peach.
Well, strip games are for teenagers and college.
I'm feeling
Some of us like to continue to have fun.
I'm feeling my 40s, bro.
We can totally tell though in the Mario Golf game if you're playing online when you're playing with like a young teenager because they're like, holla at your boy.
Yeah, their name.
Your boy. Their name's like, your boy 69.
I got her hooked, and now she's playing with the teens on the Mario Golf, and one of the kids' name was like Chaboy. And Andrea's like, what's Chaboy? He must be from another country. And I was like, no, baby. It's Chaboy. And she's like, ow. Nerd didn't get it.
Then I beat him.
Then she did. 9 under. She's putting in the Eagles. I think you even got an albatross in there, didn't you?
What is it? Do you swing with the?
You can, but we use the buttons because you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
My God, I'm not getting up out of.
She'll be swinging later when the top is coming.
Me and my husband swing.
Yeah.
Because that seems.
Sam uses the controller, and did you
I
know
almost killed myself.
She was in her socks. Her,
God!
Sleeping
On the
socks.
vinyl floors.
Yeah, on the floor, on her new floors, and she did a twirly do and landed on the knee that she busted on Tom's truck.
Yeah. It was
She did
bad.
an old lady fall.
Yeah.
Not good.
That'll
Not
be
good.
bruised for 2 weeks. Old.
What do you get? Do you get to completely naked, or is it just topless at some point?
No, I try to go. I go for the hole in one.
All the way.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. My whole thing is the putt golf.
No, there's
the
no
loads
putt-putt.
for loads. It's
yeah.
like you have to do something. Like just nude. I mean, I can see my wife nude when she brushes her teeth at night.
Yeah, no, it leads to the end.
Oh, okay. Well, is that the final? Like, if you win,
then you do the physical challenge.
Okay,
yes,
right.
yes.
Okay.
The goal is to get to the end, and then you complete the physical challenge, and then it's washcloth city.
Okay.
And then it's give me the blankets and turn on rain sounds. Alexa, play rain sounds.
I like it where when you lose, then you can name when and where at any time.
Oh, that's a dangerous thing.
Because that's where it's like I want to do it when she's the most angry happy. Yeah. Because it's
you got a weird
That's like
team,
cashing
man.
in.
This guy,
That's
my
money
God.
in the bank.
No,
Cashing it in.
because it's
It's like money in the bank. Yeah.
well, that's when it's the most valuable. Because in no
She's
other
like, I hate
circumstances.
you.
No,
You're
because
like-
By the way-
Sheldon hate it. And then
Well,
be
that's
even
what I
mad
want.
at
He
it.
likes that. He's weird.
Well,
my
first, that's never happened, and second, she never agreed to it. Even if I won the bet, I'd be like, now? Hell no. And then I have no recourse. It was like, what am I supposed to be like? Hold on! I'm like, you said it. You bet this at the Congo River. And she's like, what am I going to do? Anyway.
I'll let you go. Hey, thanks for dropping by.
You're welcome.
I love you.
Good to see you.
How are the
everybody.
puppies? How are the old
Oh,
dogs?
they're sleeping, but they're getting a little uneasy because it's starting to thunder.
Yeah. Maggie the dog is explosive diarrhea.
Oh,
Every
shaking.
thunderclap. It's like,
Yeah.
You gonna get her in diapers?
no. I just let it roll.
Caesar's been puking. Maggie's with the diarrhea.
Oh, yeah. Don't get little dogs.
It's the
Little old dogs.
Yeah, they just puke and bile and farting.
It's the only illogical thing you guys do with the
love
two
'em.
dogs.
We love 'em.
I know, but you
love
got
'em.
them. You have to
Having
love them.
dogs illogical.
I love
Well, they're
because they're pooping
they're
everywhere.
puking everywhere,
Oh.
and I can't see.
But you have to
So do
see
your
out
kids.
this like end game. You know, I'm not. What are we gonna do?
I know.
I do
But it's
wish.
not illogical.
I do wish
Well-
that you could give them away when they get too old,
Oh, my
or turn them off. I wish you could turn them off.
I'm just saying.
Caesar's still my baby.
It's illogical from, and then I know one. My
wife-
Maggie was your mom's dog,
Yeah,
so there's
it's
a,
the
like,
only
you're
connection
doing
I
the
have left in my mother. Sometimes as I touch the dog, I can feel my mom trying to communicate through the dog.
So that's not illogical. I'm saying you had this. You got Caesar.
Yeah.
That was a decision, and
Yes.
and it eventually comes with the pooping and throwing up everywhere.
well, he's thrown up
It's like I had
bile since he was 3 because he
Yeah.
ripped up his insides.
Yeah.
He had 10
No, I
inches
know.
of
He
his
puked in the
intestines.
middle of the night last night. I don't
Yeah.
know what time it was, but I
They
know
do-
you
they
got
all
up.
have something. I'm saying Lena was on pain pills, or she's dragging her feet, or it's like there was the end wasn't good for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Was
Right,
a lot
but-
of lasers and money and poo poo.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of poo-poo.
And
I've had 14 good years, so
Yeah.
that outweighs any pooping and having to get up in the middle of the night.
all I'm saying is you're in
You
the
gonna
poo-
give away your kids
You're in the
when
poo
they
poo years.
start.
No, they at least they will grow older than me, hopefully, and then take care of me. And at the end of the years,
They're gonna move to another state.
When
They're
I
gonna
make-
forget about you.
I'm making bad decisions. No, Tommy will stay with me. Max will hold nothing.
I just
but-
try to
Feed
think
on
about
their
how
phone.
quiet and confused you're going to look when you get really old, because you're going to get more quiet. Whereas I think I'm going to go the old stereotype of little old
you're
men,
gonna
where I'm
be-
going to get really loud and yell a
Right,
lot.
because you've lived a long time and you think you deserve it.
Yeah, I'll be throwing around privilege and acting like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
jerk.
yeah.
But I think you will get more quiet and more confused. Where you'll be
Oh,
like
yeah.
one of those old men that gets real skinny, and you kind of one of those gross old skinny men. That,
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
gonna
Like,
stare
Dad-
out at his backyard.
No, you do that bobblehead.
Yeah, the CTE
and you
is
just kind of
full blown.
Yeah, you
They're
just
like,
kinda-
Dad stopped talking in 2000.
Yeah, and they can't figure out what's wrong. It's not like you
But
don't-
Tommy will. He'll be. I'll be
cleaning
living
you
with
up.
them.
Yeah, he'll be cleaning you up.
Yeah, yeah,
He'll
yeah.
take you into the
Oh,
bathroom,
God.
set you in a shower chair, and wipe the poo out of your
He's
pants.
gonna roll you over so you can get
Yeah,
sores.
he'll roll you over.
He's just like me. He hates awkward situations.
Yeah.
Can't say
He'll just
no.
do
Like
it.
I'll take advantage of that. I know myself. I'll take advantage of his
And
personality.
then he'll get you dressed in some ridiculous outfit, and
Yeah, yeah.
you know he'll drive you out to Panera to get a bowl of soup, and you sit there quietly. You won't say a word.
His girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife will be convincing him to put me in a home, and he'll be
Yeah.
like, "I can't do it to my old man." Like I know him. He
It's a
won't
strain
do
on
it.
that relationship, so he
Oh,
can't
yeah.
have a
Oh,
functioning.
it'll be
It'll
lonely.
lead to his divorce.
Yeah. It'll
Macy's
just be me.
already forgotten about us. She does not care
yeah.
about
She
us.
can live by herself now.
Yeah.
For 100%.
She
She
totally
can
can.
take care of. She can adult better than I
She's
can.
like, bye.
100%. She
She
can
made
read
her-
better than me. She can do her taxes.
She went to the freezer this morning and got her pancakes out, and then just started opening everything up, and like you getting them on a plate to put in the microwave. I'm like,
Oh, no,
you
no.
can't do that. You get like,
I'm making my boys dependent on me. They can't do
love
nothing
it.
by themselves. They can't even do nothing.
I get
They'll
made-
starve. They'll die before
My
they
God.
ever
I get made to
even
do stuff
cook
for me.
food.
You know, I'll be like, help me out.
Yeah.
Make me pancakes. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm screaming. Put your underwear on. It's ridiculous.
Are we powering through?
I sat in the pool with them yesterday. I used Maisie to try to bully them
don't
because
care,
I'm like,
though, right?
a girl is better than you. She's doing handstands, and
Don't
she's
do that.
got no. I'm telling you, I'm like,
They
you
don't
letting
see
her.
gender, man.
No, I know. It's a damn. They,
Yeah, yeah,
they
you
don't
can't
even,
use that against them. They
they're
don't care.
They're like, she is better than us. I'm like, no, because
Facts are facts.
She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't. They don't have
And
that.
we're better in Minecraft, and that's a fact.
They don't have that where it matters that a girl's better than them, and I'm
No.
like, why?
It's actually good that they don't have that, which is nice. Yeah, makes them sweet.
Well, I can't use
well-adjusted
it
good boys.
as a bullying tool, and then I scream, she's in camp, she goes there every day, and then I'm like, what do you like? Swimming, golf? Tell me. And they're like,
don't
"Oh."
like nothing.
We haven't had a tell me in forever, and that was a subtle one. He slunk.
No, I'm
Yeah.
screaming, and then they're like, we don't want to do nothing. And I'm like, something, do it. And I'm like, you gotta get out of the house. You're
It's
doing
because of you.
I know, and then, well, my wife's to blame a little bit too, but she screams at
Well,
them too.
you are their parents.
They're like,
You raised them to be lazy.
I don't want it. That's ingrained into them. I think I gave them my laziness. Crystal's lazy just like me too. She hides it and she don't tell you guys.
How do you hide your laziness?
She does kind of hide it. I've seen this.
Yeah. I tell everybody everything about myself, and other people don't do that.
Yeah, he's wide open. He's accurate on this one, and I'm really not trying to be disrespectful to one of my favorite people, which is Crystal Van.
Mm-hmm.
But he has said this before, and she will admit she'll say things like, "Oh yeah. Oh, I waited the last minute for that. Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah. There's a reason.
Yeah, there's a reason they're in love. I mean, there's true love there.
Come January, do you need me just to sign your boys up for camps, and then we're just going to go for it? Because it's January, you got to sign them up.
Yeah.
He won't make them go, though. They'll wake up in the morning and they'll be like, Daddy, I don't want to go, and then he won't make them go.
No. I need you to be.
I'm just going to
Just have
schedule
her
them
pick 'em up.
camps.
Yeah.
And then
Just have her do it all.
Yeah.
That's
And
what
then-
I do.
Yeah. Just
I don't do anything. I'm not a parent.
I'm
not
going to
even
do
a
it
dad.
for you, and then you're blindly, then you just got to get in there.
I couldn't tell you the last time I saw Maisie.
I just want them to be interested in something. Like that's all I want. Like, I'll do anything.
Well, the-
Chess,
dude, the-
whatever.
You don't necessarily need them to go to camp that they're interested in. They might not know. She's going to a STEM camp this week. We didn't know what to expect. She
Yeah.
comes home the first day.
Stem cell
It's
research.
awesome.
Yeah, she's working in a facility. No, it's a science.
She's a scientist
She
now.
went to a science camp, and the first day they made a robot cricket that's powered by a solar panel.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I was, it's
I
really
love
awesome.
science.
Yeah, it's
I want him to
super
do that.
dope.
I tell him,
Yeah,
him,
you
like,
got to expose them to different things, and then they'll find
Then
an
they'll
interest.
find
And then I asked.
They don't know. They're
This is a
5
quote.
and 6.
I go, "How was camp?" She goes, "It was amazing." Like she's doing an ad for the damn
yeah,
thing.
I
I'm
just
like,
gotta drop
amazing.
them off.
Just
Yeah.
do it. Just sign them up.
Yeah, yeah.
The nature camp, I think that's
Dude,
where
they-
He
it's
said
at.
his boys don't care about
No, but
animals or nature.
They will
or
not,
anything.
nobody could not like this camp. I want to go to this camp.
They
It's
just
at a
tell me
creek.
that. I they'd have fun. I know they
have
go
a
there. Of
blast.
course,
Just force them to go.
they went to that sports camp thing, which is basically just a bunch of balls in a gymnasium. Like, it wasn't nothing.
We did one of those. We did the gymnastic camp. It was really
Oh, you went to
just
the Bobo camp.
Well, we did a Bobo one too, where it's like it's a gymnastics camp, and it was just a room where it's like this is babysitting.
Mats.
It's like,
Yeah.
It's just Planet Obstacle. They're just like, we have a foam pit. There's something. We just let them in there, lock them in.
But Maisie didn't like that camp. Like she
There's that
told us
structure,
straight.
yeah.
She's like, I hate this camp. I hate the mean boys. She's like, I don't like it.
She doesn't even want to go back there to a birthday party.
No, she
hates
can't.
it.
Oh, she's
She
traumatized.
associates
She
it.
Damn.
She draws lines in the sand. Yeah, one of her good friends has an event at the same camp, at the same place where she had this camp that she disliked.
Yeah.
And she's like, I told her, this is terrible. This is me.
She said
She goes,
this.
I told her I was busy, but I'm not. I don't want to go. And I'm like, that's not good.
That's a straight up adult thing to do.
But
though.
That's awesome.
Well, she's like her mom.
She's smart.
Yeah.
She's a smarty
Oh,
pants.
my boys will just tell the truth no matter what. Like, we're like, come to my birthday. Okay, because they don't want to. They don't want it. I know. I'm looking at myself and I'm mad at it. I'm
Well,
mad.
now you know how we feel.
I know. That's what made me realize too. I was like, oh my God, I'm horrible to be around. I can't stand my own personality. I'm like, who would want to put up with this? Some person does like nothing. Okay. He does lazy, don't want nothing,
You're finally
don't
getting
like
it.
nothing. And it's me and my boys. We sitting there doing nothing.
But at least you got your boys.
Start a camp, nothing.
Yeah, nothing matters. Camp nothing.
That's a shirt. Camp nothing. It's also
Tom and Dan's camp, nothing.
Tom and Dan's Camp Nothing. That's great.
Oh, do make one an old school camp shirt.
I'd love to do that. Old school Camp Nothing, man. You come here. What are we doing? I don't know. We have no plan. This
Nothing.
is
No plan.
yeah. We have no plan. We don't know what we're doing.
Listen, if I would suggest that to them, they wouldn't even want to go to that because I ask them, I'm like, what do you like? And I know you like video games. I bet there's some sort of video game.
Oh,
for
yeah.
them.
Sure,
There is.
yeah.
There is.
They're like, we got video games at home.
They're right. We're not wrong.
You stay home too, comfortable.
Oh, yeah,
but they're
yeah.
logical too. If
Hey,
they're
well,
saying,
why not? It's awesome. Their home is awesome.
Yeah, they're kind of right too because they're like, well, we could go and make video games by coding ourselves and make really crappy kid video games, or we could play this amazing video game that millionaires made.
I made it too good.
Professional.
I'm ruining them.
Tracy Claus in the chat says that her friend owns a Minecraft camp. Send them there.
Yeah, it's called Code Ninja.
Yeah.
That's
I've
cool.
heard a few. Yeah.
No, we've heard of that.
Yeah, well, that implies that they want to go get better. I believe me.
But I'm saying they can make friends. Yeah, they can make friends.
It's frustrating, and that's why I'm like, oh my God, it's like it's me. This is horrible.
You're leaving the decision
This
up
is
to
horrible. No, I know.
You're leaving it too much up to them to say that they want to do something. Just make them go.
I was screaming at them the other day.
No, you weren't.
Don't scream at them.
All right, well, I'm not
Leave
screaming.
my friends alone.
I'm just telling them, I'm like, you're watching YouTube videos about Minecraft, but a version you don't even have because they're watching the
Yeah,
damn
the mods. Yeah.
and the whole thing. So I'm like, all of what they're doing, you can't do. Why are
Well,
you
they have to
watching
go
this?
to the camp and learn how to do it with the Code Ninjas.
Well, then they'd have to get a PC and do the whole thing.
Take that one underneath. Yeah, take that.
Well,
we can make solutions.
Yeah, we
for
can figure
you.
this
You're
out.
just-
I got you covered, dude. I
but
can figure this out.
You don't understand.
Everyone's screaming at Tom in the chat. Make them go. Be a parent. goddammit. Make them go.
I understand a little bit more of what he's saying. They don't.
right.
You could make them go, but
They'll go. I mean,
they'll do anything. They're the kindest. They'll just sit and just kind of do whatever.
I'll
But
sign-
they won't come home and say it's awesome. or anything.
They would. That sports camp thing was just Bobo garbage or whatever. So, but it's like they were had fun, and they went and
They're
we.
fun kids.
It's not like they're like I refuse to go. Yes, I don't understand. I'm not that horrible of a parent. I'll just force them to go anywhere, and they'll go and do it. I want them to want to do something. That's all.
But they told you they don't want that.
I know. And by the way, back to the Minecraft.
Well, Maisie with the dance thing, like she said, and I have no control over that. She just says, I want to do the dance. Okay, fine, you want to do the dance. Like Sebastian from Danger Brand, he just told me his kid has been asking for forever for drum lessons. I want to do drums. So you don't have anything like that. You don't have them coming to you and saying, I want to play basketball. I want to be a soccer guy.
That's what I want.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then I want to facilitate them wanting to do that by throwing money at some sort of camp
like
or whatever.
Parents do.
That's what I want. But they don't want to. Dude, even the Minecraft, I understand. Yeah, I can get a PC and they could do the same stuff. And that's when I tell them, like, well, do you want to get a PC? Because the Switch version doesn't have it.
They're just indecisive. I think that's boys.
No, they're just like, it's fun.
I think that's kind of boys.
But isn't Max like interested in the piano and stuff? Have you
I said, do you want to learn piano? Do you want to learn guitar? Tommy's like, I know how to play guitar.
yes, he is you. 2 weeks.
Then you should have been like, play it right now.
2 weeks.
Call us bluff. Call us bluff.
That's not playing guitar. You're just strumming it. That's not. You need to know the notes. I don't want to do nothing.
I love it. I actually love it now. Now that you fully explained it, it makes sense. And now
But then Maisie's torturing you by doing a million handstands.
Oh, it's great. Okay, please, to make him feel better.
I want my sons to do a million handstands.
No, you don't. To make him feel better, please tell him the arguments and screaming matches. And I'll be honest with me and May. We've been going at it this week a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Me and her. How crazy are how many cartwheels a day?
I would say no less than 100.
How many handstands a day?
Well, and I'm in my office is your old studio, and so she's upstairs in the second floor, and all you hear is dunk, dunk, dunk.
Yeah, constantly.
Her,
like I'm trying to type an email to you. I got somebody calling me. I'm trying to do something.
And after that repetitive motion, you're like, God damn it, stop!
Yeah, you do yell, God damn it, stop.
That's what I want. My sons are laying in bed.
The grass is always greener, Tom.
They walk there on the couch. I'm like, go outside.
They're all quietly sitting.
And they're like, I don't know what to do.
Maisie will make me.
I have kids that live here. I hear nothing. Dead silence.
I don't have a yard because we live in a townhome, and Maisie will make me sit on the hot, recently coated black asphalt in a chair, sweating my D off. That's why I'm constantly wanting beers, because I'm sitting out there. I was like, I'm dying out here.
We have a mat, and so she'll take the mat outside and then just constantly cartwheel
on
with
hot
her
asphalt
with
for
her good
hours.
side, cartwheel with her bad side, handstand.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Push. She's now trying to do push-ups with her handstand or walk with her handstand.
Yeah, she's trying to walk.
That's awesome. I want that. My son won't even go play in the goddamn playground we bought him. I'm like, it's out there. The pool. Like, how we want to do nothing.
I like that.
Camp nothing.
Lay on the couch.
I want to do camp nothing.
Tom's camp nothing.
Do a flip. Anyway.
Oh my God. We gotta get out of here.
You need to fan yourself.
No.
Break the sweat.
This is what goes on in my mind every day, by the way.
Me too.
All right. We'll be right back.